Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. I am in Konoha, I can upgrade the talent entry. Chapter 31. It just so happens that today's conversion opportunity hasn't been used yet. Just use Kakashi's. Night God Ryosuke has actually stored several hairs in the biological information warehouse. There's Akamichi Choji's, Ino's, and even Inuzuka's. They were all used by him to transform talent entries in the future. But now there is a better choice, of course he chooses Kakashi. Anyway, Kakashi was also a genius when he was a teenager. Graduated from ninja school at 5, became a chunin at 6, and became a jonin at the age of 12 when other kids had just graduated from ninja school. This resume alone is scary enough. Even more exaggerated than Uchiha Itachi. But, he became famous when he was young, but his subsequent achievements were a bit unsatisfactory. Elite Jonin's strength is really good. But only good. That's not Kakashi's limit, he should be able to become the second Konoha's White Fangya. Pity, Sharingan dragged him down, and at the same time, the change in mentality also made him lazy, far less motivated than when he was young. But even this cannot conceal Kakashi's talent. This is a ninja with cage-level talent. It's a pity that I chose the wrong path. System, transform Kakashi's hair. Night God Ryosuke said silently in his heart. In the next second, the silver-white hair in his hand disappeared, and at the same time, several system prompts sounded in his mind. Ding. Single quote. Transformation succeeded. Congratulations to host for getting the talent entry. 50% off gold. 55. Is Hatake 50 to 50 open? Is it 50 to 50 open? Yagami Ryosuke's sensory system is spit on Kakashi's settings. But this time the transformed talent entry turned out to be golden again. Should it be said that he is indeed Zongjin's genius boy Kakashi? Incredible. Night God Ryosuke immediately opened the description of this talent entry to view the specific information. 55 split gold. The legendary special talent can be forcibly split into 55 splits when fighting any enemy whose strength is higher than one's own. Battle detection plus 1000%. Combat instinct plus 1000%. Comes with a mandatory 50 to 50 halo. Compulsory 50 to 50 halo. Within 3 minutes, the target cannot cause substantial damage to you. There is something about this talent entry. Night God Ryosuke looked at the information introduction above. 2 attributes, 1 to see through combat, which strengthens Night God Ryosuke's ability to see through the enemy's flaws in battle and seize fleeting opportunities. A fighting instinct. Even if the Night God Ryosuke has no combat experience, he can fight very well just by instinct, and some magical strokes are enough to make people overwhelmed. These 2 attributes obviously increase the strength of Night God Ryosuke in battle. If used well, there is no problem in defeating the strong with the weak. But the most important thing is the mandatory 50 to 50 halo at the back. This thing can force Night God Ryosuke to be invincible for 3 minutes during the battle. Within 3 minutes, the target cannot cause substantial damage to itself. Isn't this invincible? Proper magical skill. But, the effect of this talent entry also has a premise. That is the strength of the enemy, which must be stronger than itself. If it is about the same strength as Night God Ryosuke, or simply weaker than himself, that would be completely useless. It's useless when you abuse food, but if you are facing a strong enemy, this thing can not only save your life, but it may even turn the tables against the wind. Yagami Ryosuke felt that it was really coming to eat this Ichiraku ramen today. Otherwise, at the age when he is still in the ninja school, when will he meet Kakashi, the elite jonin? To know, Kakashi at the moment seems to be working in ANBU. Usually, he would not show up in the village at all. And, except Kakashi, he additionally harvests biopheromones from Might Guy and Rock Lee. The latter is a plus. But Might Guy's biopheromones are definitely valuable. After all, that's the man who almost brought up the finale. Even Kakashi can transform golden talent entries, so there is no reason for a physical master like Emperor Guy to only transform purple talent entries, right? This back and forth, that is 2 golden talent entries. ... Good guy, this time I made a lot of money. Yagami Ryosuke smiled like a fox, feeling happy in his heart. However, today's surprises don't seem to be over yet. Ding. Single quote. Congratulations to host for successfully equipping 10 talent entries. The system will start updating in 3 seconds. Question mark question mark question mark. System update. Night God Ryosuke was still wondering. 3 seconds have passed. However, a progress bar appeared in his mind. 0%, 0.10%, 0.30%, 0.100%. Less than 5 seconds before and after. Even before Ryosuke had time to think about the changes in this system update, the system was just updated. Yagami Ryosuke. No, do you update the system so fast? What's your internet speed? 8G. Yagami Ryosuke subconsciously complained. Then, he asked again with concern. System, what features have you added in this update? This update of the system adds the function of hanging up the entry. The system answers. Hang up the entry. What's the use of that? Night God Ryosuke wondered. Host can choose to hang up a certain talent item that has been equipped, and the hung up item will get the corresponding experience value every day. The system quickly explained. That's it. How much experience can I get if I hang up the entry of Destiny's Son? When Yishen Ryosuke heard it, his eyes lit up. This function is good. Before, because there were no decomposable talent entries, these talent entries of Night God Ryosuke were still in their original state, and none of them could be upgraded. Certainly, these talent entries on Ryosuke, the Night God, are all high-quality talent entries. Even if they don't upgrade, they are still very powerful. But wouldn't it be stronger if it could be upgraded to another level? Who would despise oneself becoming stronger? So as soon as you hear the entry, the hang-up function can make the hung-up entry gain experience value rewards. Night God Ryosuke's interest was immediately raised. I just don't know how much experience is gained every day. The golden talent entry is rewarded with 10 hang-up experience points every day. The system answers. 10 o'clock. Night God Ryosuke calculated that a golden talent entry needs 100,000 experience points to upgrade to a god-level talent entry. At 10 o'clock every day, that means 10,000 days. This is more than 27 years. No, isn't the experience value given by the system too little? How can only 10 points be enough? Yagami Ryosuke immediately protested the dissatisfaction. 10 experience points, what is that enough for? What? 10 points of experience is enough for the white talent entry to be promoted to green. Feel sorry, Night God Ryosuke doesn't have that kind of garbage talent entry. He didn't like it either. Facing the protest of Night God Ryosuke, the system did not respond. And Yishen Ryosuke waited for a while, and found that the system didn't take care of him, so he could only accept this reality resentfully. 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock. Better than nothing. And, if you think about it carefully, 10 o'clock is actually a lot. It took a long time for the golden talent entry to be upgraded to the god-level talent entry, but what if it was purple to gold? That's actually just over 2 years. It happened to be shortly after the official start of the plot. In this way, when the time comes, several purple talent entries on Ryosuke, the Night God, can also be upgraded to gold. The attributes must be greatly improved. Not to mention, hanging up is second. It mainly relies on decomposing other talent entries to obtain experience points. Hanging up is just adding a shortcut to lie down and win for those who like to be lazy. By the way, the gold talent entry is worth 10 experience points per day, so what about purple? How many experience points does purple have per day? Night God Ryosuke suddenly remembered that the 10 experience points were obtained by hanging up the golden talent entry. Not all talent entries. But this time, the system didn't respond to him. Forget it, I'll see for myself. Night God Ryosuke opened the character panel, and sure enough, he found an hang-up bar at the bottom. There are 3 grids in the hook column. That is to say, 3 talent entries can be hung up at the same time. Night God Ryosuke tried to put the entry of White-Eyed Princess on it. A progress bar is displayed immediately below this grid. 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds, 6 experience points. Purple talent entry hang-up is 6 points of experience per day. From this point of view, it is the most cost-effective to hang up the golden talent entry. Yagami Ryosuke calculated silently in his heart. Although the golden talent entry takes longer to upgrade, it seems that it is not as cost-effective as the idle purple talent entry in the short term. But in fact it is not. Because Night God Ryosuke can also decompose other entries to gain experience points. Therefore, He can completely assign all 3 hang-up slots to the golden talent entry. Afterwards, the experience points obtained by decomposing will be given priority to the purple talent entry. In this way, not only taking care of the purple talent entries, speeding up their upgrade to gold, but also enjoying the greatest hang-up benefits. And wait until the purple talent entries are upgraded to gold. Night God Ryosuke can distribute the experience points gained from subsequent decomposition to these 3 golden talent entries for hanging up. Speed up their upgrades. Then, after thinking about it for a while, Night God Ryosuke arranged the 3 golden talent entries of Ashura's Mercy, Indra's Resentment, and Son of Destiny in the 3 hang-up slots. Among them, Ashura's Mercy and Indra's Resentment have nothing to say. It is necessary to occupy an on-hook slot, because these 2 talent entries are definitely the best among the golden entries. And the reason why the third choice, Children of Destiny, instead of other golden entries, Night God Ryosuke also thought twice before deciding. Improvement in 1 or 2 aspects compared to other golden entries. Son of Destiny, the improvement of this entry is all round. A direct 500% improvement in all directions. And Night God Ryosuke has figured out the activation switch of this entry. Totally idealistic. As long as he feels dangerous, this entry will be activated. Therefore, choosing to upgrade Son of Destiny first is obviously more important than other golden entries. I wonder if this hanging slot can be increased in the future. With only 3 hang-up positions, Night God Ryosuke still feels that there are too few. If it can be like the talent entry, it can be equipped with unlimited equipment. That's good. Certainly, Night God Ryosuke also knew that was impossible. If there is no limit, wouldn't it be possible to hang up the talent entries of all equipment? Hook slot 1. Ashura's Mercy Golden 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds 10 experience points. Hook position 2. Indra's Resentment Gold 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds 10 experience points. Hook position 3. Son of Destiny Gold 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds 10 experience points. After confirming the 3 talent entries for hanging up, Yishen Ryosuke also returned to the number 4 training ground in the morning to continue his practice in the afternoon. In the afternoon, it was still physical training. Push-ups, squats, kicks, punches. A set of training items that can be called hell difficulty was completed over and over again by Night God Ryosuke. Although very tired, but there is also a sense of accomplishment. At the same time, the 5 shadow clone assigned by Night God Ryosuke are also working hard on cultivation. A shadow clone practicing treading water. 2 shadow clones are practicing Rasengan. Of the remaining 3 shadow clones, 2 are responsible for practicing ninjutsu, and the other is familiar with various physical techniques while opening white eyes and Sharingan, and using the ability of insight to observe the surroundings. On the one hand, it is to avoid being discovered. On the other hand, it is also in order not to miss any opportunity to replicate more ninjutsu. Late at night, in the bedroom, Night God Ryosuke is sorting out today's harvest. A golden talent entry, plus an on-hook function after the system update. In addition, the shadow clone, who has been observing several training grounds with his eyes open and Sharingan, copied 3 new ninjutsu after a day today. AC level water dungeon technique, AC level heart beheading technique, and AB level fire style ninjutsu that surprised Ryosuke the most, fire dragon flame bullet. The water prison technique is copied from a Chunin. It seems to be a ninja of the Sarutobi family. It is said that the ninjas of the Sarutobi family basically do not practice outside, but they all practice in the family training ground inside the clan. It is rare to see someone who came to the public training ground, and it is considered lucky for Ryosuke. And the other heart beheading technique was copied from the opponent of the Sarutobi family ninja. That's right, Night God Ryosuke was able to copy 3 new ninjutsu today. It was all because of these 2 Chunins fighting in the number 2 training ground when they were full and had nothing to do, so that it was in vain for Ryosuke, the Night God, to let him prostitute 3 ninjutsu for nothing. And there is a B-level fire style in it. This B-level fire style is also copied from the Chunin of the Sarutobi clan. Have to say, as expected of a ninja of the Sarutobi clan. Even if it's just a Chunin, his ninjutsu is better than other civilians, especially Jonin. For B-level fire style ninjutsu like Fire Dragon Flame Bullet, ordinary civilian ninjas don't know how many tasks they need to do and how many contributions they need to accumulate in order to exchange for one. And these family ninjas, basically, as long as you show similar talents, you can be bestowed with such ninjutsu by the elders in the clan. In contrast, the treatment can be said to be very different. Besides, something like shuriken throwing techniques. The night god Ryosuke also copied it conveniently. He is not a grandmaster shuriken thrower per se, nor does he have much interest in it. Generally speaking, genin will rely more on this aspect of skills in battle. After reaching jonin, ninjutsu, illusion or physical skills are basically used to determine the outcome. Shuriken throwing. Not everyone can play as fancy as Uchiha. For the most part, genin's shuriken throwing skills can only be described as mediocre. This is the one copied by night god Ryosuke. Maybe next time I can replicate Nizuzi's shuriken throwing technique. Night god Ryosuke thought suddenly. Although Sasuke's shuriken is not as fancy as his brother's, but enough to outperform most mid-genins. But, night god Ryosuke didn't take this matter too seriously. After all, his current strength is already comparable to the special jonin, and he is directly catching up with the official jonin. Shuriken throwing or something. It doesn't have to be a lot of learning. It's optional. Anyway, it may not be useful. The biggest gain today is the talent entry 50 to 50, and the second is the improvement of physical fitness after a day of practice. The advantage of core foundation is that the improvement effect in the early stage will be particularly obvious. It's very motivating. It's like losing weight. If you can see weight loss every day, the motivation will naturally flow. But if you can't reduce it no matter what you do, you will naturally give up over time. I slept comfortably. Waking up the next day, Yagami Ryosuke was not sore from the crazy exercise the day before. If it were someone else, they would not even be able to climb up. But night god Ryosuke is like a normal person. Not only is my whole body comfortable, but I even feel more flexible and lighter in action than yesterday. One day of training, the effect is terrifying. If other taijutsu type ninjas knew about this, their eyes would turn red with jealousy. Mom, I'm not going home for dinner tonight. I'm going to have a picnic with my classmates. While eating breakfast, Yagami Ryosuke thought of having a better picnic with Ino and the others the day before yesterday, so he told his mother Yagami Mizuki in advance. Having a picnic with your classmates. Would you like your mother to buy some things for you in advance? Yagami Mizuki asked with concern. No need, Mom. Night god Ryosuke quickly finished his breakfast. We will prepare it ourselves, and then we can catch some hares and pheasants in the forest. Hare and pheasant in the forest. Yagami Mizuki subconsciously remembered that when she was young, she also went to a picnic with her classmates, and she also said that she wanted to catch wild game to eat. In the end, everyone went home hungry. Is it really possible? Yagami Mizuki asked worriedly. After all, she also has personal experience in this regard, and it belongs to the experience of someone who has experienced it. Don't worry, Mom. Well, then you should pay attention to safety and don't go to those dangerous places. Seeing her son's insistence, Yagami Mizuki didn't say anything more, she just reminded her son to be careful. After all, even in the village, some places are actually not safe. Mom, I'm going out to practice. Be careful on the road. Yagami Mizuki turned around and shouted. It is still number 4 training ground, the same place as yesterday. Night god Ryosuke first created 5 shadow clone. Let them practice on their own. Then I walked in front of the tree yesterday again, and continued the hellish training. When people are doing something seriously, time always feels like it passes quickly. Before I knew it, it was noon again. Yagami Ryosuke temporarily stopped exercising. He took a bath in the river and changed into the coat he had taken off earlier. Then left the number 4 training ground. What are you having for lunch today? How about eating Ichiraku ramen again? Maybe I will meet other well-known ninjas in the village. Yagami Ryosuke was thinking about what to eat for lunch while walking. At this time, the sunlight in front was suddenly blocked by something. Yagami Ryosuke looked up and found that Kurenai Yuhi, whom he met a few days ago, was standing in front of him and looking at him. Little brother, we meet again. Kurenai Yuhi smiled and said to Yagami Ryosuke. It's Sister Hong. Yagami Ryosuke yelled sweetly. Did Sister Hong just come back from grocery shopping? Yagami Ryosuke noticed that Yuhi Hong was carrying a lot of bags in his hand, which contained some vegetables and meat. Obviously just came back from the vegetable market. Yes, there are still guests at home at noon, so prepare more food. Noon, night god Ryosuke looked at the sun that was already hanging in the center of the sky. It's already noon, isn't it? I just bought vegetables and came back to cook now, isn't it a bit late? Kurenai Yuhi seemed to see what Yagami Ryosuke was thinking, stuck out her tongue, and said cutely, I accidentally got the time wrong, so it's a bit late. But fortunately, everyone is on their own, and there are not so many rules. How about you, Ryosuke? Are you going home for dinner? Yuhi Hong asked. Night god Ryosuke shook his head. I won't go home for lunch. Then you must not have eaten yet, right? Yuhi Hong smiled and stretched out her hand, shaking the bag in her hand and said, then Ryosuke, would you like to help my sister carry the bag? My sister can treat you to dinner. Really, Sister Hong, how's your cooking skills? It's not the first time you're cooking, is it? Night god Ryosuke expressed his doubts about Konoha ninjas' cooking skills. After all, these female ninjas are performing tasks all day long, how can they have the time to practice cooking? With such a high probability, each of them should not be very good at cooking. Certainly, marriage is excluded. Most female ninjas can practice good cooking skills after they get married. What? Worried about my sister's cooking skills? Kurenai Yuhi smiled and tapped Yagami Ryosuke's head with her finger, then handed him a smaller bag for him to carry. Let's go, I'll show you my sister's cooking skills. Okay, then I'll go all out. Night god Ryosuke looked ready to die generously. It directly made Yuhi Hong laugh. Yuhi Hong's residence is north of Konoha village. Most of the ninja clans here are located close to the center of Konoha. The location is very good. Although the Yuhi clan is dying compared with the Hokage family. But to say that the area where they live is indeed much better than that of the Hokage family. But Uchiha Hong's home is not big, just a small 2-story building. There are front and back yards, about the size of Night god Ryosuke's house. The location is much better. Is this the home of Sister Hong? Yagami Ryosuke was still eyeing him curiously when he walked in the door. Come in, there are no children's shoes at home, so you can wear my sister's. Yuhi Hong handed over a pair of white plush slippers. The shoes are small and not big. However, it still looks a bit big for the 10-year-old Yagami Ryosuke. Stepping on slippers of a larger size, Yagami Ryosuke followed Yuhi Hong into the living room of her house. The layout of the living room is very simple, with a warm table, a TV, and a sideboard with some photos, water glasses and the like. Yagami Ryosuke saw that one of the photos was a photo of a stern-faced uncle and a teenage Yuhi Hong. I thought, this person should be Yuhi Hong's father, Yuhi Hong. Most ninjas are short-lived. Those who can live long are either scourges or special dogs. And Konoha's third Hokage and Shimura Danzo, the elders, have both. So live a very long time. Especially the two older guys, Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. Live longer than Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Even directly from Hokage, live to the period of the incombustible Boruto. It is also the ultimate. Never on the battlefield, never directly involved in combat. If there is danger, hide in the family base camp. The word, go, has been implemented from beginning to end. Look at the people's ability. How many people in the ninja world can compare? As strong as first Hokage Senju Hashirama, the strength is close to the existence of Six Paths level. Didn't he hang up at a young age? So, in the ninja world, those who are stronger may not necessarily live longer. Those who are weak, as long as they find the right method, they can live a long life. That's my father. He died when I was a teenager. At this time, Kurenai Yuhi also walked behind Yagami Ryosuke, looking at the photo. The voice and smile of his father when he was alive also appeared in his mind. Sister Hong, don't be sad. If Uncle Junhong can see you in the Pure Land world, he will definitely wish you a happy life. Yagami Ryosuke grabbed Kurenai's little hand and comforted her. Yuhi Junhong died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. That is 10 years ago. At that time, Yuhi Hong was 17 years old and a chunin. The Nine Tails Rebellion killed many Konoha village ninjas. Most of them are civilian ninjas, and a small branch house ninjas. Yuhi Junhong was one of the few elite jonin who died in that battle. After the general strength reaches the level of elite Jonin, the probability of a ninja's sacrifice in danger will plummet, because elite Jonin's life-saving ability will be much stronger than Jonin and Zhang Genin. Basically have a very strong hand. Such as Kakashi's Reikiri. Yuhi Junhong can be rated as an elite Jonin, so she naturally has outstanding abilities. Pity. The Yuhi family is a family of illusions. Good at illusion. But the enemy of Yuhi Junhong back then was Ninetales, who was controlled by Brother Tuzi with Mangekyo. His illusion was completely useless. Before he could use all his skills, he was affected by the large-scale attack of Ninetales, and finally died due to the serious injuries. Actually, I have lived a pretty good life these years. If my father really looked at me in the Pure Land world, I think he will be very pleased. Yuhi Hong suddenly said with a smile. Also, I'm currently preparing to rank as an official Jonin, and my father will be proud of me when I become an official Jonin. Sister Hong will definitely do it. Yagami Ryosuke raised his head and said. Then thank you little Ryosuke for your kind words. Kurenai Yuhi rubbed Yagami Ryosuke's face with a smile, then smiled and let him sit casually, while she turned around and went to the kitchen to get busy. Yagami Ryosuke sat in the living room for a while and then ran to the kitchen. Sister Hong, I'll help you. I didn't expect our little Ryosuke to be a little gentleman. Yuhi Hong turned her head and said with a smile, well, can little Ryosuke know how to chop vegetables? I have practiced swordsmanship, Yagami Ryosuke said as he ran over and picked up the kitchen knife and gestured in his hand. In fact, where did he practice swordsmanship? That is to say, I have seen the scroll of swordsmanship left by my father and made a few comparisons by myself. About the same as now. Yuhi Hong is also very Jonin, and she also has a friend named Azuki Shion, who is good at swordsmanship, so she also has a certain ability to distinguish swordsmanship. She could tell at a glance that Ryosuke, the night god, hadn't learned any swordsmanship at all, and was just gesticulating. Then please little Ryosuke cut up these vegetables. Yuhi Hong smiled and put some vegetables aside. No problem, just watch mine. It's just chopping vegetables, so it's not hard for Ryosuke, the night god. Although he can't cook, but just cut it and it's perfectly fine. Kurenai Yuhi and Ryosuke Yagami are busy in the kitchen together. On the other side, two figures also came from outside the small building. Shi-yan, your clothes look very nice today, where did you buy them? Mitarashi Anko, who was walking on the road and was eating a few skewers of meatballs, also looked at Azuki Shion's beautiful attire beside him at this time, and asked curiously. Azuki Shion, Konoha ANBU's special Jonin. Usually, I feel like a relatively cool young lady. Has a signature long purple hair, sharp eyes, and a beautiful face. But today's Azuki Yuyan is not dressed as a ninja, but is wearing a thin pink coat with a red lining inside, which doesn't look like ANBU at all. On the contrary, it looks like a rich daughter. I bought this during the last festival, and I think it looks pretty. Maoyu Shion smiled faintly and said, besides, I'm not resting these 2 days, and today I'm visiting Sister Hong's house again, so naturally I have to dress more formally. Oh, but you made me look very casual. Mitarashi Anko nodded seriously, and then looked at his daily style attire, which was completely inferior to him. No, Anko, you look beautiful in anything. Azuki Shion said with a smile. Really, actually, I think so too. Haha, Mitarashi Anko couldn't help laughing happily. At this time, two more figures came towards him. Oh, it's Anko and Azuki Jonin, you two. Sarutobi Asuma, smoking a cigarette, greeted the two. Asuma, what are you? Azuki Shion didn't speak. She was not familiar with Sarutobi Asuma, she had only met him a few times, but Mitarashi Anko was careless and asked directly. He pointed to Yuhi Hong's house next to him. Oh, I'm here to look for Hong. Asuma said, isn't today a weekend? I just heard that Yuhi Hong is also resting today, and didn't go out to perform tasks. Therefore, Asuma just wanted to invite Hong to have lunch, go shopping or something. He also just returned to the village recently. Then I found that those friends in the past have changed a lot in the past few years. Especially Hong, who looks more and more beautiful. Asuma couldn't take his eyes away from watching. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is very familiar with his son's personality, also saw his son's thoughts, so he gave Yuhi Hong a vacation from time to time. The tasks assigned to her are basically not dangerous and can be completed relatively easily. While brushing your resume, there will be no accidents. After all, this is likely to be the future daughter-in-law. For his own family, Sarutobi Hiruzen is still very partial. Otherwise, the Sarutobi clan would not have cultivated so many Jonin during his reign. It's good, of course it's cheaper for your own family. I knew you were looking for Hong again. Mitarashi Anko looked like, I've seen through your mind, and winked at Asuma, making Asuma a little embarrassed. Then what are you guys? Asuma quickly changed the subject and pointed at the two of them. Especially Azuki Shion. Asuma had never seen her dressed like this before. We are different from you, we are the guests that Hong invited today. Mitarashi Anko raised his head with a smug expression. Ah, this. Asuma scratched her head with a smirk. It seems that I came at the wrong time, he thought. However, since everyone is here, can't we not even meet each other? What's more, my father also said that when chasing a girl, the most important thing is to have a thick skin. If you always feel embarrassed, that's impossible to catch up with girls. Then I'll go with you. Asuma remembered his father's words and carried them through. He wasn't that thick-skinned before. But now, Asuma felt like she had adapted. And also feel pretty good. If you want to follow, just follow along. Mitarashi Anko didn't care, and went up and knocked on the door with Azuki Shion. Boom boom boom. Red, here we come. Anko stood outside the door and yelled loudly. Asuma, in the house. Yuhi Hong, who was busy in the kitchen, also heard Anko's bluffing outside. Little Ryosuke, go and help open the door, my sister can't leave here for the time being. Kurenai Yuhi, who was busy preparing lunch, said to Ryosuke, who was beside Yagami. Okay, I'll go and open the door. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, turned and ran towards the entrance. 3 groups of chakra, there are 3 guests. Night God Ryosuke has sensed the chakra in the human body outside the door through the wall and several doors. This is not Baian's ability to see through. It is the ability to perceive good and evil attached to Fox incarnation. The main perception of good and evil perception is actually chakra. Therefore, Night God Ryosuke can feel other people's chakra from a distance. Like the 3 outside the door, they should all be ninjas close to Jonin. As for good and evil, because I haven't seen it, I haven't felt it yet. Hong, open the door quickly, I'm starving to death. Outside the door, Anko was still yelling. Yi Shen Ryosuke, who was about to open the door, also twitched the corners of his mouth, thinking that this Mitarashi Anko was really bluffing, as if he couldn't calm down for a moment. Kacha. Night God Ryosuke opened the door for the 3 people outside. As soon as the door opened, a figure ran in. Woo, Hong, I miss you so much. Anko ran in and opened his arms as if hugging what she thought was Kurenai Yuhi. But when he came in, he found that the person standing in front of him was not Yuhi Hong, but a cute and handsome little boy. Anko blinked in surprise. Suddenly a sentence popped out of his mouth, could you be Hong's illegitimate child? Night God Ryosuke, Azuki Shion, Asuma. Anko's words directly shocked the 3 of them. Night God Ryosuke was completely speechless. Big sister, how did you know that I am the illegitimate child of Sister Hong? He rolled his eyes and said. As a result, Anko pointed at the Night God Ryosuke's eyes in a serious manner. Your eyes are the same as red, they are all red. She said seriously. Ah, this. What a coincidence. I'm not Sister Hong's illegitimate child. Night God Ryosuke directly dropped this sentence, turned around and walked in, not wanting to talk to Anko, a crazy woman. Cut. What an uncute brat. Anko pouted, then giggled, put on his slippers and walked in. Azuki Shion, who was following behind, also changed her shoes and walked into the house. This stumped Asuma, who was left last. Because there are no shoes for him to change. Well, do you still have slippers? Asuma asked. Yagami Ryosuke looked back at Konoha's official 2nd generation, a unit of measurement worth 35 million taels. I don't know about this, I'll ask Sister Hong. He said. Oh, then I'll wait here now. Asuma nodded, looking in good spirits. It's just that Night God Ryosuke's good and evil perception, this guy has some malice towards himself. Although, that's because of Anko's thoughtless words just now. But Night God Ryosuke has already explained it clearly, with a touch of malice, which seems a bit petty. Hong, you're still cooking. In the kitchen, Anko, who ran in, saw Kuroyuki who was still busy at the stove, and pouted quickly, looking like he was about to cry. It's almost there, it's almost there. Shiraihong turned her head and said, you and Shi-Yan go to the living room to sit for a while, and we can eat right away. Really? Anko glanced at the few empty plates next to him. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look like you can eat right away. Bululu. Her stomach growled. Sister Hong, do you want me to help? At this time, Azuki Shion also came in. She looked at the kitchen, and then asked. No, you can take Anko to the living room and sit for a while. By the way, help take care of little Ryosuke. Ryosuke. Is that the little boy who just opened the door? Azuki Shion thought to herself. At this time, the night god Ryosuke also ran over. Sister Hong, there is a bearded man at the door. Is he also a guest invited by Sister Hong? Yagami Ryosuke doesn't think that Kurenai Yuhi would invite Asuma to this kind of girlfriend's dinner. At this point in time, the two should not have confirmed their relationship yet. Uncle with a big beard. Yuhi Hong turned around in surprise and asked. It's Asuma. Anko pouted, still feeling bad about not being able to eat right away. That guy insists on following, and he can't even drive him away. It's him. Yuhi Hong frowned. She didn't have any affection for Asuma at the moment, she was just an ordinary old classmate. Although Asuma showed a look of pursuing her before. But to be honest, Yuhi Hong didn't feel that way about him for the time being. He has never accepted Asuma's overtures. Unexpectedly, today, when she was having dinner with Anko and their girlfriends, this guy also ran over. Let me go and talk to him. Yuhi Hong first took out the vegetables in the pot, then turned off the fire, wiped her hands and walked towards the entrance. Don't talk too long, Anko shouted back. Just a few words. Yuhi Hong glanced at her angrily. Entrance door. Kurenai Yuhi came over and saw Asuma standing in the entrance. Hong, what a coincidence. I originally wanted to ask you out for lunch, but I didn't expect that you already have arrangements today. Seeing Kurenai Yuhi come out, Asuma quickly put on a flattering smile and said. Sorry, Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi said, today I have a dinner with Anko and the other girlfriends, so I can't invite you in. This. Asuma didn't expect Kurenai Yuhi to be so direct. Don't even let yourself in. Asuma felt a little upset. Especially when I saw Ryosuke, the night god who was poking his head over there, I felt even more upset. Girlfriend dinner. Is that kid also a best friend? Girlfriend. Although Asuma was upset in her heart, she still pretended to be generous and said, it's okay, on the surface. But Yishen Ryosuke felt that this guy's malice towards him had increased a lot. Cut. Sister Hong rejected you, and it's not me, so it's none of my business. Yagami Ryosuke complained in his heart. Kurenai Yuhi apologized to Asuma and asked him to leave. Although Asuma was unwilling, she turned around obediently and left. Kacha. Closing the door, Yuhi Hong turned and came back. As little Ryosuke peeping. When she saw Ryosuke, who was looking like a ghost at the door of the living room, she smiled and pinched his face. Don't pinch my face. Night god Ryosuke fiercely resisted. Is that bearded man just now Sister Hong's boyfriend? He asked. No, just ordinary friends. Sunset Red explained. Oh, I thought Sister Hong liked the bearded man. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, and he already knew in his heart that there should be no relationship between Yuhi Hong and Asuma. Asuma is clearly still only unrequited love. Brat, is your name Ryosuke? In the living room, Anko looked Yagami Ryosuke up and down, and suddenly smiled like a fox. My name is Yagami Ryosuke, big sister. Yagami Ryosuke said angrily. This crazy woman obviously didn't hold back anything good. Night god Ryosuke, right. Why, from what you just said, do you think Asuma is not a good match for your red sister? Anko asked with a smile. Sure enough, I didn't hold my fart well. On the side, Mao Yuxian, who was sitting quietly, also looked over quietly after hearing the words. To be honest, she also felt that Asuma was not a good match for Hong. Asuma looked too old-fashioned, and he likes to smoke, and he can smell a strong smell of smoke from a long distance away. Azuki Shion doesn't like the smell of smoke. Although she doesn't like Asuma. Certainly, it mainly depends on whether Yuhi Hong likes it or not. It doesn't count if she said it. Of course that bearded man is not good enough for Sister Hong. Yagami Ryosuke rolled his eyes at Anko, and said, that bearded man looks almost in his 40s, and Sister Hong is still so young, how can he be with that kind of man? Puff. Hearing that Yagami Ryosuke said that Asuma looked like he was in his 40s, Azuki Yuyan couldn't help laughing. Night God Ryosuke heard the sound and looked over. Azuki Shion blushed slightly, and then deliberately picked up the cup to drink water. Haha, I didn't expect you, little brat, to be quite interesting. Anko is not like Azuki Shion, she just laughed out of shape, patted the table and said, that's right, that guy Asuma looks really old. Hong, did you hear that too? She yelled towards the kitchen. If you're with Asuma in the future, people might think he's your uncle. After she finished speaking, she couldn't help laughing. At this time, Yuhi Hong also came over with 2 dishes. After putting down the dishes, she glared at Anko angrily. Don't worry, it's impossible for me to be with Asuma, it's impossible in this life. After Yuhi Hong finished speaking, she turned around and went to work in the kitchen again. After a while, unable to sit still, Anko ran to the kitchen to check the progress. Leaving Yagami Ryosuke and Azuki Shion in the living room, staring wide-eyed. Beautiful sister, what's your name? My name is Yagami Ryosuke. Of course Yagami Ryosuke knows that the person in front of him is Azuki, but he hasn't said anything yet. Azuki Shion, is brother Ryosuke a relative of Sister Hong's family? Azuki Shion asked curiously, although Anko's illegitimate child was just a joke. But I have to say, Yagami Ryosuke looks a bit like Kurenai Yuhi, mainly because of his eyes. No, my surname is Yishen, and Sister Hong's surname is Shiri, so there is no way they are relatives. Night God Ryosuke shook his head and said, that's it. Azuki Shion nodded and stopped talking. She is actually quite boring. Even with friends, most of the time they belong to that kind of listener. Sister Shion, your clothes are so beautiful. Night God Ryosuke is not as socially fearful as Azuki Shion. He ran over and sat down next to Azuki Shion, and reached out to touch her clothes. Is it beautiful? I think it's pretty too. Hearing that Yagami Ryosuke praised her clothes for looking good, Azuki Shion was also very happy. Yeah, but Sister Shion is so pretty, she must look good in anything. Night God Ryosuke said sweetly. Brother Ryosuke has such a sweet mouth. He must be very good at pleasing girls when he grows up. Azuki Shion smiled and said, suddenly, I feel that there is no strange feeling between me and Night God Ryosuke at the beginning. With just a few words, the relationship has become much closer. Will Sister Shion like it? Yagami Ryosuke blinked at her. Of course, Brother Ryosuke, you are so cute. Azuki Shion smiled and pinched Yagami Ryosuke's cheek. It seemed that they all liked pinching his cheek. Does it feel good? And Yagami Ryosuke also ran to Azuki Shion's lap and sat down, hugging her. Azuki Shion was not used to it at first, even a little shy. But think of Night God Ryosuke as just a child. I didn't think too much about it. After a while, Anko came back from the kitchen with 2 dishes. She looked at the 2 in surprise. When did your relationship become so good? What happened when I was away? With a question mark on her face, she put down the plate and came over to pinch Night God Ryosuke's face. Hey, sure enough, it feels good in the hand. Anko smiled like an idiot. Yagami Ryosuke waved her hand with a look of disgust, and slapped her hand away. Are you a female hooligan? He hid in Mao Yuxian's arms, and hugged him a little harder. Hey. No matter how you look at it, you are more like a little hooligan, right? Anko said dissatisfied. The noisy appearance of the 2 also made Azuki Shion beside him laugh happily. It feels pretty good. Much more interesting than when she was usually working. 12:30 noon. It's finally open. Anko was so hungry that he didn't have the strength to argue with Night God Ryosuke. Right now, she was lying limply on the tatami, like a snake. It's open. Yuhi Hong came out with the last dish and put it on the table. Ah, I can finally eat. Anko, who was still lying on the ground just now, jumped up when he heard the meal was served. I'm going to get the dishes. She hurried into the kitchen, found the bowls and chopsticks with ease, and ran back again. Here, Shi-Yan, this is yours. Little devil, this is for you, will you use it? Miss Anko, please don't say such stupid things, or everyone will think you are naive. HMPH. What an uncute brat. Anko turned his head angrily, then sat down and saw the sumptuous lunch on the table, and immediately burst into laughter again. I'm starting. She picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of tempura and put it in her mouth. Immediately, he closed his eyes happily. Night God Ryosuke. Do you want to be so exaggerated? Suspiciously, he also picked up a piece of pork chops with his chopsticks and chewed them in his mouth. After a while, Night God Ryosuke's eyes lit up. It tasted really good. How is it? Is the food my sister cooks delicious? Yuhi Hong asked with a smile. Yeah, it's so delicious. Yagami Ryosuke nodded again and again, praising Yuhi Hong for her excellent cooking skills. Here, try this. Kurenai Yuhi happily brought food to Yagami Ryosuke himself, letting him taste his favorite dish. Tasty. This is delicious too. Yagami Ryosuke eats his mouth full of sauce. When Yuhi Hong saw it, she also smiled and gently picked up the napkin at the side and wiped his mouth for him. Eat slowly, no one will grab you, she said with a smile. Then, I saw Anko next to him with a turbulent posture, sweeping away the food in front of him. Yuhi Hong, this bad friend is hopeless. In the dining room, all the dishes on the table were eaten by 4 people. There was no soup left at all. The last bite was snatched by Anko from Yagami Ryosuke's chopsticks, and he put it into his mouth with a smile. He also proudly made faces at Night God Ryosuke. Childish. Yagami Ryosuke thought while rolling his eyes. Anko, you eat the most, go wash the dishes. Seeing the embarrassing appearance of her best friend, Yuhi Hong immediately made a decision and decided to let Anko wash the dishes. I'm so full, I can't move. Anko slammed down on the tatami and pretended to be dead. Don't pretend, hurry up, or I won't treat you to eat next time. As a good girlfriend, Yuhi Hong would not know Anko's character. This is obviously just pretending. And, the acting is terrible. HMPH, just go, just a little bit. Anko got up quickly, and before leaving, he made a face at Night God Ryosuke and stuck out his tongue. And Yagami Ryosuke handed her 2 plates with a smile. Sister Anko, come on. Clean up. Anko, this dead brat is so irritating. Have no choice. Under the stern gaze of Kurenai Yuhi, Anko could only walk into the kitchen with a lot of dishes and began to wash them in the sink. Ryosuke, would you like some tea? In the living room. Kurenai Yuhi smiled back and asked Yagami Ryosuke. Well, I ate quite a lot just now, and it would be nice to have a cup of tea now. Yagami Ryosuke nodded and said. Shiyan, what about you? Yuhi Hong asked Azuki Shiyan at the side again. I'll have a drink too. Azuki Shiyan nodded and said. Well, Anko, please make 3 cups of tea. Yagami Ryosuke almost didn't laugh when he heard that. He thought it was Yuhi Hong who was going to make tea by herself, but it turned out that Anko who was washing dishes was asked to make tea. Incredible. Hong, you know how to bully me. At the kitchen door, Anko poked his head out with an aggrieved face and said. When Yuhi Hong saw it, she also smiled and got up to go. Okay, I'll go clubbing. She was just joking. This is her home, and Anko has already left the dishes to Anko, how could she continue to make tea for them? Soon, Yuhi Hong came back with 3 cups of tea. The tea is a bit bitter. But this time is just right to drink, just to scrape off the oil and water in the stomach. Sister Hong is really gentle and virtuous, she will definitely be a very good wife in the future. Yagami Ryosuke took a sip of tea and did not forget to praise Yuhi Hong for being virtuous. No matter how virtuous your red sister is, what does it have to do with you, a brat? Anko wiped his hands and came out of the kitchen at this time, and heard that the kid Yagami Ryosuke was sycophanting again, so he immediately slapped him. Then when I grow up, I will marry Sister Hong as my wife. Yagami Ryosuke said with a natural expression. Cut, you really are a little pervert. Anko curled his lips, sat down and said to Yuhi Hong. Hong, you have to be careful, this kid is trying to trick you. Anko, stop messing around. Kurenai Yuhi patted Anko angrily. Night God Ryosuke is just a child in her eyes, childish words are ruthless. Can a child's words be taken seriously? However, brat. Anko looked at Yagami Ryosuke with a sudden smile and said, if you marry your red sister, you won't be able to cling to your Shian sister's arms like just now. Then I will marry Sister Shian back home. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Look, Look, Hong, this brat's true nature has been exposed. Anko pointed at Night God Ryosuke and shouted excitedly. Anko, Ryosuke is just a child, how can you take what a child says seriously? Yuhi Hong gave her an angry look. My best friend is obviously in her 20s, but she still acts like a child all day long. Just now I was grabbing something to eat with the kids. Now take what the child said seriously. Really, how come the older you get, the more childish you become? Cut, you don't believe it, do you? Anko pouted, looked at the two smiling and indifferent, and said, look, I think this brat is serious. Yagami Ryosuke is of course serious. How can a man not like a beautiful woman? Unless it doesn't work, and, as the saying goes, beauty matches the strong. Night God Ryosuke thinks that he must be a strong man in the future. What happened to the strong man having more wives? This is called hard work by those who can. Moreover, what a miserable ending for Yuhi Hong and Azuki Shion in the original book. One has a dead husband, and the other has a dead boyfriend. No one is happy. Even for the sake of their happiness, Yagami Ryosuke has to do it. What is it called? It's called helping others. ... After staying at Yuhi Hong's house for a while, it was about 1:30 in the afternoon that Yagami Ryosuke left. It is said that Wenru Township is a tomb of heroes. Night God Ryosuke thinks that this sentence is not wrong at all. This is not. It's only been a while, and he's a little bit reluctant to leave. Fortunately, he is determined. Don't be moved by beauty. He unswervingly chose to leave this gentle hometown and continue the hard training in the afternoon. It's so hard for me. Even Ryosuke, the night god, was moved by his own willpower. Then he smiled and touched his cheek. Just before leaving, both Shirai Hong and Azuki Shion kissed him. As for that crazy woman Anko, Yagami Ryosuke just pinched her and ran away. If Kurenai Yuhi didn't stop him, Anko would definitely catch up and beat him up. After all, the position of the pinch is a bit tricky. Slip, slip. Yagami Ryosuke speeded up and ran straight on the roof. Soon came to the number 4 training ground. Dive into the forest. Under the tree by the river. Night God Ryosuke was sweating, kicking the big tree in front of him non-stop. In just 2 days, obvious kicking marks have been left on the tree trunk. A large piece of bark had fallen off, and the area that was often kicked and beaten was much darker than the surrounding area. Soon, 3,000 kicks are done. Yagami Ryosuke stopped to take a break. Phew, I don't feel as tired as yesterday. Maybe it's time to increase the frequency tomorrow. Night God Ryosuke felt that he adapted very quickly. On the first day, he completed 3,000 kicks, and he felt that that leg no longer seemed like his own. After a full 6 or 7 minutes of rest, the leg muscles recovered. This is still him. If it were another person, he would have practiced like this from the beginning, and he might be useless. But it's only the second day. Night God Ryosuke felt that he was used to this intensity. I even want to add one more. By the way, today's entry hasn't been converted yet. During the rest, Night God Ryosuke suddenly remembered. Hastily took out a black hair from the pheromone warehouse. This is what he collected yesterday. Not sure if it's Might Guy's or Rock Lee's. But that's okay. If it's Might Guy's, then some of the remaining ones must be Rock Lee's. The reverse is also true. However, goals that have already been converted cannot be converted again. So just sift through when the time comes. System, transform the hair on my hand. Night God Ryosuke thought silently. Next second, the black hair he was pinching disappeared in an instant. At the same time, the system prompt also sounded in his mind. Ding, single quote, transformation succeeded. Congratulations to host for getting the talent entry, Burning Soul of Youth Purple. A purple talent entry, that should be Rock Lee's. If it's Might Guy, it should be gold. After all, Kakashi's are also golden. No reason Might Guy would be the first rank. Check. Brush. An interface unfolds in front of you. Burning Soul of Youth Purple, burn it. My youth. Those are the years of sweat. It was Zhang Jin's sleepless days and nights. Ah, my youthful soul. Burn to the end of the world. Night God Ryosuke. No, let's just say, can the transformed talent entries not follow the master like this? Yi Shen Ryosuke looked at the introduction of this entry, and always felt that Xiao Li was standing next to him, shouting loudly into his ear. He even has a sense of the picture. Forget it. Let's look at the entry attributes. Burning Soul of Youth Purple. Physical Training Efficiency plus 350%. Physical Fitness plus 350%. This talent entry transformed from Rock Lee has a total of 2 attributes. Not much, but the value is higher than the 3 attribute talent entry like White-Eyed Princess with a single item reaching a 350% bonus. One is the efficiency of physical training, and the other is physical fitness. The former corresponds to physical skills. The latter corresponds to the root of Teishu, that is, the body. As expected of a talent entry transformed from a taijutsu-type ninja, it is indeed all related to taijutsu. Not bad. Yagami Ryosuke did not disappoint. After all, gymnastics is also a skill that he is currently trying to improve. In terms of ninjutsu, the basic configuration of Night God Ryosuke is not bad. There is Sharingan. If you want to learn some ninjutsu, just find an opportunity to copy it. As for chakra, that is the strong point of Night God Ryosuke. Cage level chakra, no kidding. But the words of gymnastics. Technically, he used Sharingan to copy a few moves, and let Shadow Clone get used to them, so there is no problem in using them. But in terms of physical fitness, Yi Shen Ryosuke's foundation is too poor. It takes a lot of practice to improve. This is not. In the past 2 days, he has been improving this aspect of himself. After 2 days, the effect is good. However, it is obviously not enough. And now, another 350% bonus to physical fitness, plus the previous 1000%, is already a 1350% bonus. 13.5 times improvement. Even if the Night God Ryosuke's body hasn't really grown up yet. But in terms of physical fitness, it has surpassed most of the body skills Chunin. From the time he entered the ninja school to the Chunin exam, Shaoli was 13 years old, and the results of 7 years of practice are almost the same as the Night God Ryosuke is now. Certainly, Night God Ryosuke did not learn 8 inner gates. If you really fight against Shaoli during the Chunin exam period with physical skills alone, you will definitely not be able to beat him. But Night God Ryosuke is not just a physical ninja. Physique is just a means for him. Not all. Night God Ryosuke's strongest is his ninjutsu attainments. Massive chakra, 10 times the power of ninjutsu. And amazing chakra recovery speed. Even if Ryosuke uses ninjutsu to bombard wildly, he doesn't have to worry about consumption. This makes him a terrifying existence. Especially on densely populated battlefields. A large-scale ninjutsu can cover a large group of people. When the time comes, Night God Ryosuke releases these ninjutsu one by one. Just ask, who can stand it? 4:30 p.m. Night God Ryosuke ended today's practice early. He will have a picnic with Ino and the others later on, and if the time counts, they will come over soon. So Yagami Ryosuke jumped into the river and took a simple bath, then went ashore to change his clothes, and went directly to the gate of the number 4 training ground. As soon as he arrived, he saw Ino, who was already waiting here, standing there alone, looking around. Ino, Yagami Ryosuke yelled and walked over. Ryosuke, when did you come? Ino looked at the Night God Ryosuke who came out of the training ground, and asked curiously. I've been practicing here for the past 2 days, and I've arrived long ago. Yagami Ryosuke said. Ah, if I had known earlier, I would have come here sooner. Ino regretted that she didn't ask where Ryosuke practiced. She always thought that Ryosuke practiced at home. I don't have time to talk to you when you come, I can only watch from the side. Yagami Ryosuke said with a laugh. It's okay, even if I just watch Ryosuke practice, I'm willing. Ino deserves to be Ino. He has always been generous, without hiding his true inner thoughts. What about Shikamaru and them? Night God Ryosuke asked. It's still on the way, I came here early. While Ino was talking, he suddenly noticed something, and suddenly grabbed the hands of Night God Ryosuke with a distressed expression. Ryosuke, your hand is hurt. She looked at the blood scabs on the phalanges on the back of Night God Ryosuke's hand with distress. It's okay, it's just a small injury. Yagami Ryosuke shook his head nonchalantly. Because he was exercising in the past 2 days, it was inevitable that he would have some skin trauma. Especially the back of the hand. Because of beating the tree trunk. The dorsal phalangeal joints are prone to injury. Even if Night God Ryosuke has the physique bonus of the talent entry, but after all, His foundation is poor. No matter how much the bonus is 10 times, it is impossible to make him a body of steel all of a sudden, right? So injuries are inevitable. But soon enough. This is not. The wounds on his hands were still dripping with blood half an hour ago. It's all scabbed over now. In a few hours, I'm afraid the scars will no longer be visible. It was the same yesterday. When I went back at night, my hand was still injured. Yagami Ryosuke deliberately wrapped the bandages so that his mother Yagami Mizuki didn't notice. Then when I woke up the next day, the wound was gone. Ryosuke, actually you don't have to work so hard. Ino looked at Yagami Ryosuke's hands with distress. It's okay, it doesn't hurt at all. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Liar, how could it not hurt? Ino's eyes were a little red, as if he was about to cry. Don't move, I'll bandage you up. As Ino said, he took out a new roll of bandages from the ninja bag at his waist, and carefully bandaged the wound for Night God Ryosuke. Ino, you are so cute. Yagami Ryosuke looked at Ino who was bandaging his wound seriously, and said suddenly. Ah, really? Ino blushed a bit, then said with a giggle, then Ryosuke fell in love with me. That's not true, Yagami Ryosuke said. HMPH, I'm angry. Ino snorted softly, turned his head and ignored Night God Ryosuke. At this time, a hand was gently placed on Ino's small head. I lied to you. Yagami Ryosuke smiled softly. Ino raised his head and looked at him, the afterglow of the setting sun sprinkled on the back of the Night God Ryosuke. The scene at that moment was deeply imprinted in Ino's heart. Ryosuke. At this time, a few figures approached in the distance. In addition to Shikamaru and Choji, there is also Naruto who is bluffing, shouting the name of Night God Ryosuke from a long distance, jumping up and down, looking extremely excited. Yi Shen Ryosuke heard the sound and looked, and waved at the three of them with a smile. What? It's really not the right time. Ino looked angrily at the three people who came over there, with fierce eyes. Shikamaru shrank his neck instinctively. The back of the neck feels chilly. Did I offend her somewhere? Shikamaru thought puzzledly. Even with his clever brain, he is completely unable to understand the thoughts of a woman, even a little girl. ... Boom. This should be enough for us. In the forest. In a clearing by the river. A bonfire has been lit. The orange flames were crackling and burning. Night God Ryosuke carried a black bear standing 2 or 3 meters high and threw it on the ground, making a loud noise. Ryosuke, there are only 5 of us, we can't eat that much. Shikamaru looked at the size of the black bear, and said with a wry smile. But I've tried to choose the small one. Yagami Ryosuke spread his hands and said. It's okay, I can eat. Choji stared at the dead black bear with green eyes. He felt that he could already smell the aroma of black bear meat. Since Ryosuke has already got the ingredients, you guys are responsible for handling these ingredients. Ino pulled Night God Ryosuke to sit down and rest for a while, then put his hands on his hips, and ordered Shikamaru and the 3 of them. No way. Sister Ino's hair has spoken. Shikamaru and the others can only obediently drag the black bear's body to the river to clean it up. The 3 of them dragged the black bear weighing more than 300 kilograms with great effort. Or I'll go and help. Night God Ryosuke looked at them and said. Ryosuke, you can rest well, leave these things to Shikamaru and the others, they can take care of it. Saying that, Ino looked at Shikamaru and the 3 of them with warning eyes. Yes, Ino is right, we can handle it. Shikamaru nodded quickly. Based on what he knew about Ino since he was a child, it is best to follow her wishes at this time, otherwise it will definitely be miserable in the future. Ryosuke, you can rest, it's just a black bear, leave it to me. Naruto patted his chest to reassure, and the look of taking care of everything made Night God Ryosuke even more worried. Facts prove, Yagami Ryosuke is right to be concerned. It took a full hour for Shikamaru to clean up the black bear. Ryosuke, come and give me a hand. Shikamaru called out to Ryosuke, who was sitting by the campfire, reading Ino's palm. It is not easy for them to continue dragging the black bears that have been cleaned. But even with the skin removed and the internal organs removed, the black bear was too heavy, and it was a bit difficult for the 3 of them to carry it. Go and fix the shelf, leave this to me. Night God Ryosuke walked over and lifted the black bear tied to the iron frame with one hand. Wow, Ryosuke, you have great strength. Naruto looked at him in surprise. Shikamaru also looked at the figure of Night God Ryosuke curiously, as if wondering how his not strong body could burst out with such astonishing strength. Let's go. Night God Ryosuke held the iron frame with one hand, and led the three of them back to the bonfire. Chapter 41. The number 4 training ground at night was quiet. All that could be heard was the crackling of the wood in the campfire and the howling of wolves in the distant forest. Yagami Ryosuke and the others sitting around the campfire were eating the grilled black bear meat and drinking the juice brought by Ino. Chatting and enjoying the food. I wish this moment would never pass. Throwing away the bone in his hand, Naruto patted his bulging stomach and lay down on his back. It was the first time I ate meat until I was full, and I felt that I might not want to eat meat for several days. Naruto's previous food was basically instant noodles. Because instant noodles can be bought in large quantities at one time and stored at home, and the price is cheap, he often eats instant noodles for 3 meals a day. For Naruto, a trip to Ichiraku ramen is life-enhancing. The few pieces of meat in the ramen are his rare meat dishes. As for the barbecue or something, to be honest, he can't afford it. And the boss won't let him in. It is useless to save a sum of money even if we live frugally. Therefore, today's dinner is the first time Naruto has eaten meat since he was born. For the first time, Naruto felt like vomiting when he saw meat. In the past, it would be nice if he didn't drool when he saw the meat. Naruto, next time I will teach you how to make traps, so you can catch wild animals in the forest and eat them yourself. Yagami Ryosuke said. Really? Naruto sat up all of a sudden, smiled happily and said, haha. Then I won't have to eat instant noodles every day anymore. Seeing Naruto is so happy just because there is meat to eat in the future. Shikamaru next to him also showed a thoughtful expression, not knowing what he was thinking. At this time, a meteor streaked across the sky. It's a shooting star. Hurry up and make a wish. Ino shouted loudly, put his hands on his chest, and closed his eyes. I want to be Hokage and let everyone in the village recognize me. Naruto jumped up and shouted. Stupid. It won't work if you say your wish. Ino opened his eyes and looked at Naruto, who was yelling speechlessly. Does this guy understand? Ah, is that so? Naruto scratched his scalp with a smirk. He didn't know that wishing couldn't be said. After all, no one told him about it. Late at night, Night God Ryosuke took back 5 shadow clone. The large amount of memories that came over in an instant made him feel dizzy. After a few seconds, Night God Ryosuke also checked the progress of the 5 shadow clones' cultivation in the past 2 days. The shadow clone, who has practiced treading water, can now run freely in the turbulent river, compared to the beginning when he took a few steps and would fall into the water. It can be said that great progress has been made. In addition, the shadow clone who practiced ninjutsu is also fully familiar with the copied ninjutsu. Whether it's the B-level fire dragon flame bullet, or several other C-level ninjutsu, they are already familiar with the road. Night God Ryosuke intends to let shadow clones start researching chakra's nature transformation next. As for the shape change, the 2 shadow clones who have been studying Rasengan for 2 days have already been groping. After 2 days, Rasengan, who was assigned 2 shadow clones, has also reached the ball stage. The first stage of water balloon practice has been completed in the morning. However, if you want to complete the ball stage, even if there are 2 shadow clones that complement each other, it will take 3 or 4 days to complete. As for the last stage, this one should be faster. About 2 days or so. That is to say, in the case of splitting 2 shadow clones to practice Rasengan, Night God Ryosuke still needs about 6 days to learn this A-level Muji. But if Night God Ryosuke allocates more shadow clone to practice Rasengan, this time will be reduced accordingly. If only I knew how to multiply the shadow clone technique. Night God Ryosuke is a little envious of Naruto's multiple shadow clone technique at this time. Compared with ordinary shadow clone techniques, multiple shadow clone techniques can generate more shadow clones. It can even be said that there is no upper limit. The only thing that affects the upper limit is probably your own tolerance. After all, the more shadow clone you split, the more pressure you will have to take back. If there is no strong physique as a support, not even if you have enough chakra, once it is taken back, it will undoubtedly die. For ordinary shadow clone, only about a dozen shadow clone can be separated, which is the limit. In contrast, the multiple shadow clone technique that can distribute thousands or even more shadow clone at one time is quite amazing. And ordinary shadow clone technique tests the ability to control chakra, because it is necessary to accurately divide the chakra into several or a dozen parts, but not needed for multiple shadow clone techniques. It is basically a simple and crude way to put a large group of chakra into it, and then divide it into tens, hundreds, or even thousands of shares on average. It is suitable for ninjas like Naruto who have a lot of chakra but average or even poor control ability. Previously, Night God Ryosuke briefly practiced the shadow clone technique, and he could almost separate out 5 shadow clones, but he didn't contact him much. And now, Yagami Ryosuke tried again. With his current ability to precisely control chakra, he can easily create about 10 shadow clone. In this case, the efficiency of his cultivation can be doubled again. Starting tomorrow, let 5 shadow clones practice Rasengan together, arrange another 2 shadow clones to study nature transformation, and the last 3 continue to practice chakra manipulation, taijutsu, and observe other ninjas in the village, waiting for an opportunity to copy ninjutsu. Night God Ryosuke quickly assigned 10 shadow clone jobs. Then what are you doing? The shadow clone who hadn't disbanded next to him asked suddenly. Me. Yagami Ryosuke laughed and said, of course I will continue to go to school. After all, I'm still a student of ninja school. As soon as Night God Ryosuke finished speaking, 10 middle fingers appeared next to him and pointed at him. Ontology, you just want to be lazy, right? Shadow clone unceremoniously pierced the Night God Ryosuke's little thoughts. Shadow clone so much nonsense, tired, sleep. Night God Ryosuke blushed, and followed the seal to disperse 10 shadow clone. What's lazy? I'm a hobby of learning. Night God Ryosuke muttered. Ninja school. In the classroom of Class A of the 4th grade. As soon as Ryosuke, the Night God, changed his sleepy look from last week, he walked into the classroom energetically. Ryosuke. At this time, a limp body jumped onto the back of Night God Ryosuke. He looked back and saw Ino smiling at him. Okay, there are so many people in the classroom, come down quickly. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Ino didn't keep leaning on him, and obediently let go of his hand. Hey, you're here too, little Sakura. At this time, she found the little Sakura who was looking at her not far away, and greeted with a smile. Ha, Haruno Sakura snorted coldly and turned her head away. I remember you had a good relationship before, right? Night God Ryosuke saw this scene and asked curiously. It was pretty good before school, but then we broke up. Ino said. Because of what? Night God Ryosuke asked. As a result, Ino actually pointed at him. Because Yagami Ryosuke said in surprise. He doesn't remember that Haruno Sakura likes him. Isn't this woman always Uchiha Sasuke's licking dog? Yeah, it's because of you. Ino explained. Sakura said that you were just good looking, but you didn't have any skills, and your grades were also the bottom of the class. I couldn't get angry, so I quarreled with her, and then broke up. It's really because of me. Night God Ryosuke shook his head dumbfounded. Does this prove that your vision is better than hers? Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Of course. Ino raised his head proudly, revealing his beautiful white neck, as Miss Ben's vision bad. It's her little Sakura who doesn't know what to do. Sasuke. Ino just said that little Sakura was ignorant, and little Sakura, who was still sulking just now, ran over while shouting, Sasuke. Sasuke walked into the classroom with his hands in his pockets and an indifferent expression on his face. When he saw Haruno Sakura running towards him while calling his name, he frowned and showed a bored expression. Noisy women are the most annoying. Sasuke, have you had breakfast? I brought you onigiri, which I made myself. Little Sakura took out a box from behind as if offering a treasure, and handed it to Sasuke in front of her. You are so annoying, go away. Sasuke pushed little Sakura away and walked directly to his seat. When passing by the Night God Ryosuke, Sasuke even glanced at him. I was careless last time, but I will never lose to you again, Ryosuke. This weekend, Sasuke has been reflecting on why he lost to the Night God Ryosuke, and finally concluded that it was because he was too careless. Being the chief student in the class all the year round made him a little slack. That's why I lost to the latecomer Ryosuke, the Night God. But in the past 2 days, he has been practicing hard, and he feels that his strength has improved a little. If it happens again, Sasuke firmly believes that the loser will no longer be himself. Yagami Ryosuke didn't care about Sasuke's provocative eyes at all. He took Ino back to his seat, and the two chatted quietly. Seeing this scene, Sasuke also sneered in his heart. Sure enough, did you start to fall because you suddenly became popular? Ryosuke, your strength is nothing more than that. In comparison, I, who bears the blood and deep hatred, is far from what you can compare. However, thanks to your appearance, it reminded me once again that I have indeed been a little slack in the past 2 years. I am immersed in the honor of the chief student, and I have begun to become a little slack. But from now on, I will never be indulging in the glory of the chief student again. I will remind myself every moment, and I will never slack in the slightest. And you, with all these women around you, how can you compare with me? Ryosuke, the night god who was talking to Ino, didn't know Sasuke's inner psychological activities at this moment. But, even if he knew, Yagami Ryosuke would just smile. You know, this is the world of Hokage. If you work hard, you will never be able to catch up with Kaihua. Although Sasuke himself is also a comparison. But the grandfather who sent him the cheat has not yet appeared, and the cheat of night god Ryosuke is already online. To borrow Sasuke's words, what do you compare me to? The first class in the morning was another cultural class that gave Ryosuke a headache. God knows why ninjas also learn mathematics, physics and chemistry. Not everyone is a great scientist like Orochimaru. Anyway, night god Ryosuke is really not good at these things. After learning this, you might as well send him to fight a Jonin. Then, Yagami Ryosuke secretly removed the hair from the biopheromone warehouse that he got at the Ichiraku ramen restaurant on Saturday. He tried one by one. The first few were Rock Lee. It was prompted that pheromone is invalid, but when Ryosuke took out the 6th root, the prompt of transformation succeeded finally appeared. Finally found the right one. Night god Ryosuke was overjoyed. This is Might Guy's biopheromone. The talent entry transformed from the famous Guy Emperor. At least a gold, right? Ding. Single quote. Congratulations to host for getting the talent entry. Man approved by Uchiha Madara gold. Question mark. System, you are naughty again. Night god Ryosuke looked at the name of this talent entry, and the expression on his face was also very strange. But, fortunately, this talent entry is indeed a golden talent entry, as night god Ryosuke guessed at the beginning. Although the name is a bit weird. But as long as it works, what do you call it? It doesn't matter if it's called the man Uchiha Madara likes. Anyway, no one else can see it. Uchiha Madara approved man gold I, Uchiha Madara, would like to call you the strongest. Approved by Madara, a golden signboard. From now on, you are a Uchiha Madara approved man. Physical skill power plus 1000%. Physical fitness plus 1000%. Resilience plus 1000%. Comes with, lossless, 8 inner gates, 6th gate. System, I suspect you did it on purpose. Night god Ryosuke looked at the introduction of this talent entry, and felt even more speechless. What is, you are Uchiha Madara's man. Don't think that adding 2 words in the middle will make it all right. But, although this talent entry has a strong spoof attribute. But the attributes of the entry itself are still very good. Not to mention physical fitness and resilience. These 2 attributes have also appeared in the previous entries. But, it is also the first time that night god Ryosuke has seen the attribute of physical power bonus. It turns out, the power of physical skills can also get entry bonuses. However, what does this lossless 8 inner gates mean? Using this version of 8 inner gates, is there no harm to the body? Night god Ryosuke interpreted it literally, and felt that it should be almost the same. That's what happened. Immediately, he equipped the talent entry man approved by Uchiha Madara. In this way, the number of entries equipped by night god Ryosuke has reached 12, of which 3 are purple talent entries, and the remaining 9 are all golden legends. This configuration, who else? After equipping this new talent entry, night god Ryosuke also understood what lossless 8 inner gates 6th gate meant. As can be seen literally, lossless 8 inner gates refers to the use of 8 inner gates without any damage to the body. You can drive it as long as you want, drive it however you want, and drive it whenever you want. Hey, the lossless version is so capricious. But there is a note behind this, which is the sixth gate. That is to say, the features attached to this talent entry only support lossless opening of sixth gate at most. The seventh gate and eighth gate above the sixth gate are not responsible. Therefore, if Night God Ryosuke knows 8 inner gates now, he can open sixth gate at will. But for the seventh gate and the eighth gate, you have to take it easy. Especially the eighth gate. That's not something that can be opened casually. That's deadly. 8 inner gates. It should be said that it is a talent entry transformed from Might Guy. It is indeed somewhat related to 8 inner gates. Night God Ryosuke said in his heart, now he has another target. That is to learn 8 inner gates. After all, if you can open the sixth gate without loss, it is also very powerful. Although with his physical fitness and recovery ability, even if he cultivated to the sixth gate normally, the damage caused by the sixth gate can be recovered quickly, even to a level where the recovery is equal to the injury. But, after all, it hurts. In the match between Shaoli and Gaara in the Chunin exam, it was because of too much pain that the final movement was slowed down by half a beat, so that Gaara seized the opportunity. With Shaoli's willpower, it's still painful. This is only the fifth gate. One can imagine what the pain would be like when driving to the sixth gate. But, Night God Ryosuke estimated that if this talent entry is upgraded to God level entry, with the attached lossless version of 8 inner gates, there is a high probability that the seventh gate can be opened without loss. That would be wow. As for the lossless opening of 8 gate, Night God Ryosuke didn't think about it. After all, that is a super move that can make Elite Jonin's Might Guy kick the body of the Six Paths class directly with one kick. If you really want to be able to open without loss, Night God Ryosuke can directly declare himself invincible. After all, for ninjutsu, there are some bloodlines that specialize in absorbing ninjutsu. Such as Otsutsuki Peach-style Rinnegan. You can absorb ninjutsu and return it to you in double. Full of old sixth behavior. But in terms of physical skills, so far only one hollow of Uchiha Obito can ignore it. But hollow not only ignores body skills, ninjutsu and illusion are also useless. It can be said that they are treated equally. Why did Brother Tuzi play so well in the early stage? Doesn't it depend on the hollow ability in one hand? Without hollow, he's nothing. So, needless to say, Uchiha Madara's vision is really good. Among so many Uchihas, he chose Obito. As a result, Obito did not disappoint him. Mangekyo's ability, strong batch. Invincible for 5 minutes directly, and can be opened continuously. Although not eternal eyes, but Uchiha Madara gave him half a body of Hashirama cells, enough for Obito to toss. Hollow isn't without its flaws, though. For example, in the battle with Namikaze Minato, Obito exposed his shortcomings. Although 5 minutes is not short. But you can't keep attacking, right? And once you want to attack, you have to cancel the hollow state. Although this time is very short, it will be very troublesome if you encounter a ninja like Namikaze Minato who has displacement skills and has a very fast reaction speed. If you are not careful, the opponent will catch the opening and give you a fatal blow. After all, Obito's own background is too bad. As long as he has some other abilities besides hollow. It's not like you can only rely on hollow to pretend to compare the whole process. The holiday time of ninja school is similar to that of ordinary elementary schools. There are also winter and summer vacations. Autumn and winter come. In a blink of an eye, it is already winter. The temperature dropped and the water in the tank started to freeze. Everyone also put on thick winter clothes, and even wore a scarf to keep warm when they went out. This day, there was heavy snow in the sky. This is the first snow in Konoha's 58 years. After the heavy snow, the ninja school is also on winter vacation. The students were all elated and happy to be able to rest for a month. Yagami Ryosuke stood in the crowd, still wearing the same clothes as before more than 2 months ago, with a white lining and a black short coat, and a pair of black trousers on his lower body. It looked a little out of place with the classmates who were wearing cotton clothes and scarves around them. Ryosuke, Happy New Year. At this time, Ino came over with a smile and congratulated Yagami Ryosuke on a Happy New Year. The time for the ninja school holiday is the first day of the new year. The world of Hokage regards this day as a New Year's festival, and every household will celebrate and welcome the new year. The ninja school only had half a day of class today. The main reason is that third Hokage came to speak for a long time, and then the class teacher gave some explanations, assigned winter homework, and finally announced the holiday. That's right, ninja school also has winter homework. Night God Ryosuke was startled. Unexpectedly, he even ran to another world, and he still couldn't escape the threat of winter vacation homework. Fortunately, Night God Ryosuke has already thought about it. Just let Shadow Clone do the homework for the winter vacation. I'm such a clever little ghost. Yagami Ryosuke thought with a smile, and at the same time said New Year greetings to a few friends. Ryosuke, I will practice hard during the winter vacation, and I will definitely beat you when school starts after the holiday. At this time, Sasuke came over with an indifferent face, said something to the Night God Ryosuke, then turned and left. What the hell, you lose to Ryosuke every time, why are you dragging? Ino had a displeased expression on his face. This guy Sasuke is quite motivated. Yagami Ryosuke laughed, not paying attention at all. Over the past 2 months, Sasuke has lost 16 times to Night God Ryosuke. Every time Night God Ryosuke deliberately pretended to beat him barely, it seems that this also gave Sasuke an illusion that, as long as I work hard, I can catch up with Night God Ryosuke. But it's just an illusion. I saw Urzuzi working so hard. Night God Ryosuke also showed a smile like an old father on his face. I am very pleased. Night. Yagami Mizuki prepared a table of delicacies. The mother and son sat around the dining table, happily celebrating the arrival of the new year. Ryosuke, this is a gift for you. After dinner, Yagami Mizuki handed over a beautifully packaged box. It is a New Year's present from Night God Ryosuke. Mom, I have a gift for you too. At this time, the Night God Ryosuke also acted like a juggler, taking out a gift box from nowhere and handing it to his mother. Ryosuke also prepared a New Year's gift for Mom. Yagami Mizuki was very moved, thinking that the child has really grown up, and has become sensible enough to know how to give Mother a New Year gift. Unpacking the gift box, the New Year's gift from Mother Yagami Mizuki to Yagami Ryosuke is an exquisite ninja bag, because Yagami Ryosuke's original ninja bag was quite old, so Yagami Mizuki gave him a new one. There is also a complete set of ninja tools, including kunai, shuriken, and wire rope. Just no detonators. After all, that thing is too dangerous for the students of the ninja school. What Yagami Ryosuke gave to his mother, Yagami Mizuki, was a set of the latest skincare products. Because I have to take care of Yagami Ryosuke alone, I have to cook and wash clothes, and I have to go to the ninja hospital to work during the day, so Yagami Mizuki looks a little haggard. Yashin Ryosuke gave this set of skincare products to his mother, hoping that she would take good care of herself. Thank you Ryosuke, Mom loves this gift. I like the gift from my mother too. Night God Ryosuke also smiled happily, and silently vowed in his heart that he must protect this home and never allow anyone to destroy it all. After 10 o'clock in the evening, Yagami Ryosuke slipped out the door without a sound, and came to the apartment where Naruto lived. Avoid an ANBU that is watching nearby. He casually threw an illusion to the other party, making him unable to see what happened next. Immediately, Night God Ryosuke successfully sneaked into the place where Naruto lived. The reason for being so sneaky. The main reason is that the Night God Ryosuke has a special gift for Naruto, which is inconvenient to be known by ANBU and third Hokage behind ANBU. Otherwise, it will inevitably cause him some trouble. Although with the strength of the Night God Ryosuke, he is not afraid of these little troubles now. Exempt if possible, for the time being, he doesn't want to break the current quiet life. If anyone doesn't want him to develop so quietly and silently, then Night God Ryosuke has to show his fangs and give the other party an unforgettable lesson. In the room, Naruto wasn't asleep yet, he was sitting alone in a daze. The house is deserted, and the bustle and bustle outside are two completely different worlds. Happy New Year, Naruto. Night God Ryosuke spoke suddenly, awakening Naruto who was in a daze. Ryosuke. Naruto looked at Ryosuke who suddenly appeared in surprise. How did you come? He just didn't notice Night God Ryosuke. It was as if he had appeared in his room out of nowhere. In fact, Night God Ryosuke opened the door and came in. The reason why Naruto didn't find him was all because of a talent entry invisible equipped by Night God Ryosuke. This talent entry was transformed by Night God Ryosuke from Aburame Shino more than a month ago. This itself is just a very common purple talent word, and its attributes are not amazing. In the purple talent entry, it is of a relatively low grade. However, it has a special effect, that is, it can greatly reduce one's own sense of existence. Let people ignore your existence. It was for this reason that Naruto hadn't noticed that Night God Ryosuke had opened the door just now. I'm here to give you a New Year's gift. Here, this is a New Year's gift specially prepared for you. Night God Ryosuke took out a box out of thin air and handed it to Naruto. This is also a small ability attached to the talent entry Little Rich Woman he obtained more than a month ago. You can transfer the inner space of the sealing scroll to yourself, but you can only transfer one sealing scroll. Night God Ryosuke transferred the space of a sealed scroll to his palm. You can directly access items without printing. The space is a bit small. However, it is more than enough to hold a few gift boxes or something. Thank you, Ryosuke. Naruto was so moved that he cried. With red eyes, he reached out to receive the gift from the Night God Ryosuke. Then laughing and crying as he unwrapped the gift. Real, Naruto looked at a scroll in the box. Open to take a look. Yagami Ryosuke said. Hearing this, Naruto picked up the scroll and opened it. It's ninjutsu. Naruto looked at the contents recorded in the scroll in surprise. That is the training content of Rasengan and Shadow Clone technique carefully prepared by the Night God Ryosuke for him. Although Naruto will be able to get these later. But this does not prevent the Night God Ryosuke from giving these to Naruto in advance. In the past 2 months, Naruto has been practicing hard, and he didn't even play pranks. Concentrate on cultivating. After more than 2 months, Naruto's strength has indeed improved significantly. Originally his physique was Uzumaki Sage body, plus the inner sealed 9 tails. The development is good, and the early stage will not be as miserable as in the original book. Night God Ryosuke asked him to practice hard, just to let Naruto develop his own potential. He asked Naruto to exercise a lot first and practice taijutsu. It is because it is difficult for Naruto at this stage to control the chakra that grows wildly in his body through practice. And seeing that Naruto is really working hard, Night God Ryosuke prepared these 2 gifts for him. You should practice Shadow Clone technique first for these 2 ninjutsu. After you learn it, you can use Shadow Clone to practice. Then let Shadow Clone practice this Rasengan. Night God Ryosuke told Naruto, and warned him by the way, don't let people know that he knows these 2 kinds of ninjutsu for the time being. Don't worry Ryosuke, I'm sure I won't say it. Naruto nodded heavily, assuring. In this way, when you practice Shadow Clone technique, go to the toilet, it's safer there. Yagami Ryosuke said. Naruto didn't understand why it was like this, but since Ryosuke said it, he would definitely obey. After all, Night God Ryosuke is his best friend. Naruto has many shortcomings, but he is absolutely sincere to his friends. Whoever treats him well, he treats whomever is better. Even if you treat him badly, as long as you listen, Zuidun understands it, he will also treat you well. The reason why Night God Ryosuke let Naruto practice Shadow Clone technique in the toilet. Just to avoid the sight of ANBU who was watching him. ANBU will not be so bored that he will even monitor Naruto when he goes to the bathroom and takes a shower. So avoid places like toilets. In that case, Naruto can practice openly in these places. After he learns the Shadow Clone technique, these future exercises can be handed over to Shadow Clone. Naruto's own words. Just focus on exercising your body. ... After staying with Naruto for a while, Night God Ryosuke left. He's going to deliver several presents tonight. No time to stay long here at Naruto. Next, Yagami Ryosuke went to Ino's house and Hinata's house respectively, and sent them each a New Year's gift. Whether it is a ninja from the Yamanaka family or a ninja from the Hyuga family. No one noticed the uninvited guest who sneaked into the room of the little princess of their family. After delivering the gifts, Yagami Ryosuke stayed with Ino and Hinata for a while before going to Shikamaru and Choji. But this time, Night God Ryosuke doesn't need to be sneaky. Just walk through the front door in a fair manner. For those who celebrate the Chinese New Year, no one rests so early. So the process was also smooth. Yagami Ryosuke himself received several gifts in return. After coming out of the place of the Akamaiki clan, Night God Ryosuke thought for a while, then turned and went directly to the outskirts of the village. It is the homeland of the Uchiha clan. It used to be quite lively here. But now, not a single ghost. These lands have been taken away by the village. Night God Ryosuke looked at the Uchiha clan's clan land. Obviously, it is impossible for the Uchiha clan with thousands of members to have such a big place. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look like you can squeeze thousands of people into it. Obviously, some sites originally belonging to the Uchiha clan have been taken away by the village, or several high-level officials of Konoha. The bustling streets separated by a wall should belong to the Uchiha clan. If you kill someone, you have to take away the land. You are even more bandit than bandit. Night God Ryosuke sneered a few times, followed by dodging into the deadly Uchiha tribe. The entire family land is about 2,000 to 3,000 square meters in size. There are several buildings and there is a training ground. But the only light on is the house in the center. Yagami Ryosuke went straight over and knocked on the door. Who is it? A wary voice came from inside the house. It's me, Night God Ryosuke. A moment later, the door opened. Sasuke looked suspiciously at Night God Ryosuke, who was standing outside the door. What are you doing at my house? Happy New Year, Yagami Ryosuke said as he took out a gift and handed it to him. Here, this is my New Year's gift for you. Sasuke, a gift from you, Sasuke confirmed again. Yes, take it. Night God Ryosuke slipped him a present. Sasuke caught it subconsciously, and said, thank you, in a low voice. That's it, I'm leaving. Night God Ryosuke also doesn't want to stay in this desolate Uchiha tribe. I always feel that there are many pairs of eyes staring at me. You say it is deserted, but it feels like there are a lot of people. You say it's not deserted, but you can't see these people. Slip away. Night God Ryosuke turned to leave. But at this moment Sasuke stopped him. Wait a minute. He turned and went into the house, and came out a moment later with a long unpacked box. Sasuke glanced at his own box, then at the one that Night God Ryosuke gave him, and couldn't help but blush. I didn't prepare in advance, this is for you. Thank you for stopping by. Sasuke handed the box to Night God Ryosuke, although his tone was a bit blunt, but Night God Ryosuke could feel his kindness that had been significantly improved. Understand the perception of good and evil. Thank you. Yagami Ryosuke took the box with a smile, said thank you, and then walked away. Watching the figure disappear into the night, Sasuke stood at the door for a long time before closing the door and returning to the house. He unwrapped the gift from Night God Ryosuke. Inside the box is also a ninjutsu scroll. It records the training content of AB level lightning style ninjutsu. Ryosuke, this guy. Holding the ninjutsu scroll in his hand, Sasuke couldn't help but have a sore nose. He hadn't felt like this in a long time since the Uchiha clan wiped out. You moved. Still warm. Sasuke looked down at the ninjutsu scroll in his hand, and couldn't help showing a smile on his face. Thank you, Ryosuke, he said silently. Back home, Yagami Ryosuke opened the return gifts from his friends. Shikamaru sent a set of protective gear, which can protect some vulnerable parts of the body during exercise. Choji gave 10 yakiniku rolls, which can be eaten 10 times for free at the yakiniku restaurant opened by his family. What Ino gave was a scarf that she wove by herself. It was fragrant, and Yagami Ryosuke decided to wear it when he went out tomorrow. What Hinata gave was a pair of gloves, which she also wove by herself. Luckily not a scarf, otherwise it is repeated. Yagami Ryosuke can't go out wearing 2 scarves tomorrow, can he? How strange that is. It's ready now and can be worn together. At last, it's Sasuke's gift. Although it was prepared temporarily, Yagami Ryosuke probably knew what was inside when he saw the length of the box. Really, after opening the box, there was a ninja knife inside. Black scabbard with white handle. Withdraw the blade. There are wisps of cold light flickering under the lights. Good knife. This looks like high-end goods. You can't buy it in general ninja shop, you need to order it. Night God Ryosuke infused a ray of chakra into it. Chakra passed the blade without hindrance, and a ray of sharpness burst out from the tip of the blade. The whole body is made of chakra metal. If you buy this thing, it will cost at least a few million taels. Night God Ryosuke was also surprised by Sasuke's generosity. She actually gave him such a gift directly. This value is even higher than the lightning-style ninjutsu he gave. And ninjutsu was only written down by Night God Ryosuke himself after he learned it, and the cost is only a scroll and a little ink. But this ninja knife is different. If you give it to someone, you will lose it yourself. It seems that Sasuke still has left a bit of the heritage of the Uchiha clan. Night God Ryosuke thought, this knife is obviously one of them. When many people mention Uchiha, the first thing that comes to mind is Sharingan, and then their fire-style ninjutsu. But in fact, the Uchiha clan is also very good at swordsmanship. Although they don't have sword ninjas as famous as Konoha's White Fang, they are basically a jonin of the Uchiha clan, and they can use some good sword skills. But, now all the ninjutsu scrolls of the Uchiha clan were taken away by Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others, leaving nothing for Sasuke at all. Sasuke probably won't have much use for this knife at home. So I have never seen him take it out and use it. Before defecting in the early stage, Sasuke did not know any swordsmanship. Yes, I just need a ninja knife. Yagami Ryosuke liked this gift very much. Put this ninja knife on the table directly, and didn't put it back in the box. New Year's Eve is over, and a new year is coming. Yagami Ryosuke will also be 11 years old this year. But his birthday has not yet arrived. To be precise, he is now 10.5 years old. It was just over 2 months before the memory of his previous life was awakened. More than 2 months ago, Yi Shen Ryosuke was still a crane tail who knew nothing and couldn't even use the three-body technique well. And now, more than 2 months later, what is the strength of Night God Ryosuke? On chakra, under the nourishment of the junior sage body, after just over 2 months of growth, the chakra of Night God Ryosuke reached 2.5 calories. More than 2 months ago, when Night God Ryosuke just won the primary sage body, chakra was only 1.2 cards. In just such a short time, his own chakra has improved so much. Have to say, worthy of sage body. Even if it is an elementary level, it is still a sage body. How can it be compared with the general physique? And under the blessing of the entry attribute, the total chakra content of Yagami Ryosuke has reached an astonishing 87.5 calories. Compared with the total amount of chakra of 12-year-old Naruto, it is only a dozen calories away. And Naruto has so many chakra because his own chakra has been nourished by Nine Tails chakra for a long time. Ordinary vortex sage body, but there is no one who can have 100 calories of chakra at the age of 12. And now, Night Ryosuke's chakra is also close to this level. Besides, in terms of ninjutsu, Night God Ryosuke has also used Sharingan to copy more than a dozen in more than 2 months. There are B grades and C grades. However, C-level ninjutsu accounts for the majority. There are only 3 B grades. One is the lightning style given to Sasuke. False darkness. There is also a B grade wind style and a B grade water style. It's all copied by Night God Ryosuke from some family ninjas by chance. In addition, his Sharingan had already evolved to the state of 3 Hokage 2 months ago. The next step is to activate Mangio. Night God Ryosuke feels that this step is not difficult for him. After all, with 10 times the eye-opening efficiency, if Mangekyo cannot be opened, it will be too wasteful. Finally, there is Rasengan, the Muji Jutsu. Yi Shu completed the Rasengan training 2 months ago. It took another 2 months to integrate Chakra's nature transformation into Rasengan, thus extending 3 different forms of Rasengan. Wind style, spiral shuriken technique. This is an extended ninjutsu of Rasengan developed by Naruto in the original book. The level has reached S level. Add wind style's Fenrui nature transformation to it, the lethality is huge. But if you hurt the enemy 1000, you will lose 800. Because it is an indiscriminate range of damage, even Ryosuke himself, who is a ninjutsu user, will be hurt by this ninjutsu. There are 2 solutions. Either continue to develop the technique of throwing the spiral shuriken directly like Naruto in the later period. Or just send Shadow Clone to carry out a suicide attack. Night God Ryosuke chose the first time. He has been researching how to throw the spiral shuriken recently. It's getting a little browbeaten now. The extension of the second Rasengan is fire style. Burst Rasengan technique. This is developed by Yagami Ryosuke himself. The nature transformation with the fire attribute is added to form a Rasengan that will explode quickly once it touches the target, causing explosion damage and fire damage in a wide range. The level is also S level, and because it is of the fire attribute, it also has a burning effect, not a one-time damage. Even if it didn't blow up right away, it might be burned to death later. It is a very cruel taboo ninjutsu. But the same. Because of the large damage range, it can only be used by Shadow Clone under the premise that it cannot be thrown out. Otherwise, if you kill 1000 enemies, you will lose 1000. Didn't it become a move to die with the enemy? The last one is the water style. Vortex Rasengan formed by Night God Ryosuke injecting water attributed nature transformation into Rasengan. The effect of this Rasengan is to form a huge water Uzumaki after release, and the water Uzumaki will suck the enemy into it and then strangle it inside. Even if it can't be strangled, drowning will drown you. Water Uzumaki will form for a while, and if you can't escape, you must be dead. Vortex Rasengan's grade is also S grade, although its direct damage is not as strong as the first two Rasengan. But because of its strong suction characteristics, even if it is not used at close range on the enemy, the suction force generated by its Uzumaki will pull the enemy in, and it will be impossible to run away. But this thing is also the same as the first two Rasengan. Even because of its strong suction force, the caster is even more unable to escape. Just like the enemy, you can only fight on the spot. The power of S-rank ninjutsu is already great. Coupled with the addition of Night God Ryosuke's 10 times the power of ninjutsu, the power is even more terrifying. No matter which one of the above-mentioned meatballs, even Yagami Ryosuke himself can't hold any of them, let alone others. Even cage-level ninjas have to hide away from these 3 kinds of meatballs of Night God Ryosuke, and dare not approach them at all, for fear that they will be sent to the Pure Land for retirement if they get hit. The power of S-level ninjutsu, in the hands of Night God Ryosuke, can definitely exert super S-level lethality. Not only is the power doubled, but the range is also surprisingly large. When Ryosuke was testing, Zungjin let Shadow Clone run thousands of meters away to test the effect of bursting Rasengan. As a result, thousands of meters away, he was almost thrown away by the shock wave of the explosion. The area where the explosion Rasengan exploded directly left a deep pit with a diameter of more than 800 meters, and all the trees within a radius of 2.5 kilometers were blown away. The shock wave spread as far as 10 kilometers away. Fortunately, Night God Ryosuke had expected that this move would make a lot of noise, so the test was carried out outside the village. This is if it is tested at the training ground in the village. I'm afraid that Konoha's high-level officials have been alarmed long ago, and then they sent people over to investigate. So, in the next few days, Yagami Ryosuke still heard the news of a huge explosion near the southwest of the Land of Fire when Kurenai Yuhi and the others were chatting. It seems that Konoha also sent someone to check the situation. But there is no substantive information. It is suspected that it was caused by meteorites or the like. As for why no meteorite was found in the pit, that must have been taken first. To this end, Sarutobi Hiruzen also specifically ordered his subordinate ANBU to investigate to see if he could find out what force had taken the meteorite away. After all, it was a meteorite. There is a high probability that there will be special ores suitable for forging chakra weapons, and once found, they will be at least several tons. Judging by the size of the deep crater, this meteorite is obviously not small. Pity. After searching for a while, I didn't find any news. It was as if the meteorite had mysteriously disappeared. Sarutobi Hiruzen and other Konoha executives were very disappointed, sighing in vain for a missed opportunity to make money. After Yishen Ryosuke heard about this, he secretly laughed behind his back for several days. Still looking for meteorites? I see you like a meteorite. In addition to adding nature transformation to Rasengan and extending 3 different forms of Rasengan extended ninjutsu, Night God Ryosuke also developed moves such as Big Ball Rasengan. However, compared to Burst Rasengan, these amazingly powerful forbidden techniques exist. The power of Big Ball Rasengan is much worse. Even with the addition of 10 times the power, it is only slightly more powerful than ordinary S-rank ninjutsu. The Night God Ryosuke whose vision has been raised by the previous 3 forbidden techniques. There is a feeling of looking down on Big Ball Rasengan. The first day after New Year's, Yagami Ryosuke plays with friends in the village. For Chinese New Year, there are lights and festoons everywhere on Konoha Street, and there are also temple fairs. In the evening, Yagami Ryosuke went to Yuhi Hong's house as a guest again. Anko and Shi Yan also came. Night God Ryosuke also brought them gifts he had prepared. At the same time, he also received gifts from the three of them. Even Anko, a crazy woman, prepared it, but Night God Ryosuke suspected that she dug out the bag of frozen meatballs from the refrigerator at home. "It's sweet, it's delicious," Anko said with a smile. Confirmed, this must have been dug out of the refrigerator and prepared impromptu. During the month of the New Year's holiday, except for the first few days of rest and shopping with friends, Ryosuke basically spent the rest of the day practicing. In fact, Yagami Ryosuke never thought that he would work so hard before. After all, he was actually quite lazy in his previous life. But in this life, Yagami Ryosuke feels that he has fallen in love with this kind of crazy exercise. On the one hand, the sense of accomplishment after becoming stronger is fascinating. On the other hand, it is also because his physical recovery ability is too strong, and the painful feeling after crazy exercise does not last long, so people will not be discouraged after a few exercises. Instead, there will be a very comfortable feeling in the recovery process, as if you are stepping from a place where you are tortured to a paradise on earth. This process made Night God Ryosuke very obsessed. He exhausted his physical strength over and over again, and even the hands and feet he practiced were broken and bleeding. But still enjoy it every day. But, along with the Night God, Ryosuke's physique is getting stronger and stronger. It is difficult to see results quickly with simple daily exercises. So he began to make it harder for himself. In the past, when doing push-ups, it was simply a matter of getting down on the ground and doing it. But now, Night God Ryosuke will put a big stone on his back. In the beginning, it was a stone weighing 200 or 300 catties. Then gradually changed to 500 or 600 catties, 700 or 800 catties. The weight was increased step by step until Ryosuke got used to the weight, and then continued to increase. At the same time, putting stones on your back not only bears the weight of the stones, but also maintains a balance. Otherwise the stone will roll off the back. Therefore, this is also an exercise in body control. Also, before the Night God Ryosuke beat trees. Then it was changed to irons. He specially ordered an iron rod 1/2 meter thick and 2 meters long at Konoha's ninja shop. Insert the iron rod into the ground, exposing a large part of it, and then punch and kick the iron rod. To make your body stronger than steel is the goal of Night God Ryosuke. Normally, this is almost impossible to do in the Hokage world. Most taijutsu-type ninjas, their bodies are not as hard as steel. A handful of kunai can pierce their flesh and blood, and even cut off their bones. That is to say, lunatics like Hokage rely on lightning-style chakra mode to stimulate and strengthen cells with the power of lightning, so that there will be qualitative changes in physical fitness. But that's just an example. Or very few. To know. Also practicing lightning-style chakra mode, 4th Hokage is not as strong as his father 3rd Hokage. 3rd Hokage can be singled out against 8 Tails Gyuki. Even cut off one of his horns. The strength is strong, which can be seen from Madara. But the strength of 4th Hokage is not so strong. Much weaker than his father. The things to practice are the same, why is there a difference in strength? This is naturally due to the differences in people themselves. To put it bluntly, it is the difference in talent and aptitude. And, even someone like 3rd Hokage, without chakra, his physical fitness will decline. In the ninja world, there is no pure physical master who does not rely on chakra. This is the limit of the world. Because of the lack of external factors in this regard. Why are the people in One Piece world so strong? See what they eat. All kinds of big monsters. He gnawed on a sea king's leg at every turn. It takes thousands of catties of meat for a meal. How the hell do you eat a few kilos in total? How many kilos do you eat? What I ate was much heavier than the whole person. So where did all that food go? Certainly, the people in One Piece world are indeed like monsters in terms of absorbing ability. Can absorb, and there are things that allow them to absorb. This is why they have a physique like a monster. But the Hokage world does not have this condition. Absorbency is limited, and there isn't that much for you to absorb. Fortunately, Night God Ryosuke has many talent entries. The increase in physical fitness alone has reached 23.5 times with the blessing of these talent entries. Even if his own physical fitness can't reach the level of that monster. Available at 23.5x bonus. It can also become as powerful as a monster. Spring goes and autumn comes. In a blink of an eye, Xiaoli and the others graduated that year. Afterwards, Night God Ryosuke and the others advanced to the 6th grade this year, and the time also came to Konoha's 60th year without knowing it. Training ground number 4, in an open space next to a waterfall. Night God Ryosuke's upper body was bare, and every muscle in his body was heaving and pulling with his movements. Under a tree nearby, Hinata was waving her tiny palm against the tree trunk. There was a yelling sound from her mouth. Even though sweat slipped from her forehead and dripped into her eyes, she didn't stop to wipe it off, but endured the discomfort and continued to practice. After a while, Ino came out of the forest with a bento. "Ryosuke, Hinata, eat!" she shouted. Boom! There was a loud bang. Night God Ryosuke stood up, and at the same time, a boulder on his back was lifted high up with his movement, and he caught it with one hand. This boulder weighs at least a dozen tons. But in the hands of the Night God Ryosuke, it seems to only weigh a dozen catties. He held it up with one hand, and then gently placed it on the ground beside him. There were no weeds growing on the ground around him, and only a little further outside did lush weeds begin to appear. Plop! After putting down the boulder, Night God Ryosuke turned around and jumped into the pool behind him. After washing the whole body and washing away the sweat, he jumped back to the shore. Wind style, hair technique. A gust of warm wind blew away the water stains on his body. This is a little ninjutsu developed by him in his spare time. It is mainly used to dry the water stains on the body, so that it is convenient to save the process of wiping after taking a bath. Certainly, if Night God Ryosuke is willing, as long as the output of chakra is increased, this hair-blowing technique can also cause an effect comparable to Great Breakthrough or even stronger. But it's not necessary. It's just a wind, not a typhoon. Sitting on the picnic cloth, the three ate the bento Ino brought. Tomorrow is the graduation exam day. Hinata, are you confident? Ino asked suddenly. Well, I can. Hinata nodded and said softly. For more than 2 years, Hinata has actually been secretly practicing with Night God Ryosuke. Almost 2.5 years ago. It was at the end of the year before 2020 that Yagami Ryosuke accidentally found Hinata sitting by the river in a daze, so he went over to chat with her for a while. Later, I found out that it was because Hinata was scolded by her father again, so she was a little depressed, so she ran out to relax. As a result, she accidentally ran to the outskirts of the village while walking. Night God Ryosuke had a long chat with Hinata that day. That was the first time the two of them had spoken so much. Hinata herself is not a talkative person, and she is easily shy at every turn, and even faints when she is so shy. So before at school, Yagami Ryosuke only occasionally said a few words to Hinata, or said hello. It was also after that time that Night God Ryosuke persuaded Hinata to let her practice with him when she had time, and he would also guide her in gymnastics training. According to Hinata's personality, she would definitely be embarrassed to agree. Even if he had this idea in his heart, he would refuse it because he didn't want to trouble Ryosuke, the Night God. But who made the Night God Ryosuke have the talent entry of King of Mouth Escape? After a few words, Hinata was directly convinced by him. Without even thinking about it, he agreed. After that, Hinata would come out to practice with Night God Ryosuke 2 or 3 days a week, and Night God Ryosuke also took this opportunity to subtly change Hinata's personality. A person's character is not innate. It is closely related to the environment in which she grew up. Hinata is still young, and to be honest, her character has not yet been fully formed. At this time, Night God Ryosuke used his power of persuasion to instill his thoughts into her over and over again, making Hinata unknowingly become his shape. Now more than 2 years have passed. Hinata has indeed undergone quite a change in character. I am no longer as shy as I used to be. Although still quite introverted, not very talkative. But at least in front of close people like Night God Ryosuke and Ino, she has begun to let go. Whatever thoughts you have in your heart, you will express them boldly. It's no longer just being bored in my heart all day long, and no one says anything. In addition, after more than 2 years of training, Hinata's strength has also been greatly improved. More than a month ago, he had already successfully learned 8 trigrams 64 palms, and even the Hyuga family's unique skill Revolving Heaven has been successfully displayed. According to Night God Ryosuke's evaluation of her, in terms of strength, it has reached the level of Chunin. In addition to having little combat experience, almost not lost to any body type Chunin. In contrast, Ino's strength improvement is not as great as Hinata, but she herself is not too keen on this aspect. Hinata is because she wants to become stronger, to prove her determination. That's why Night God Ryosuke let her practice with him. The situation with Ino is different. Her parents are very good to her, and there are no strict requirements. As long as you can learn family ninjutsu, others hardly care about Ino. Therefore, Ino has also developed a character that is not keen on cultivation. But no matter what they are, Night God Ryosuke will choose to support their ideas. After all, whether it's Hinata or Ino, they are all the wings of the Night God Ryosuke, there is no distinction between which is more important. I almost forgot, tomorrow is the day of the graduation exam. If Ino didn't say it, Night God Ryosuke almost forgot. During this time, he was so absorbed in his cultivation that he almost forgot the time. I vaguely remember that Mr. Iruka seemed to be talking about the graduation exam yesterday. Pity, Ryosuke, the night god, was wandering in the sky at the time. Did not hear clearly. The graduation exam should be the clone technique. Yagami Ryosuke thought to himself. Although the memory of the previous life has been awakened for more than 2 years. But the memory of the Hokage plot has not faded with the passage of time, but has become clearer. This is mainly because the spiritual power of Ryosuke, the night god, has been greatly improved with the development of Sharingan, so the memory of the past has become more and more clear, and has not gradually faded over time. But this time, Naruto will need to steal another sealed book. Yagami Ryosuke thought with a smile. For more than 2 years, Naruto has been practicing hard, and has completely given up using pranks to attract attention. Therefore, a mere clone technique assessment would not trouble him at all. I just don't know, if Naruto graduates successfully, how will our dear third Hokage build a good relationship with Naruto? Wouldn't it be just as a gift, giving a ninjutsu scroll with multiple shadow clone technique? As for telling Naruto to deliberately fail the exam, Yagami Ryosuke is not that boring. Doing this is nothing more than thinking about the sealed book, which may be stolen by Naruto, and I also know that it cannot be true. Either it was tampered with, or it was simply a counterfeit. There is a high probability that there is only one multiple shadow clone technique above. After all, with such an important thing as the Book of Seals, Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't mess around. Even if there is only a 0.01% chance of an accident, he will not take the risk. And, neither Naruto nor Mizuki have actually seen the sealed book. Facing a few people who have never seen the real sealed book, why use the real one? Just put a fake on it. As for the fake sealed book, Night God Ryosuke doesn't like it either. Naturally, I am too lazy to do this. Really, Mr. Iruka didn't say in advance what the test will be tomorrow. Shouldn't he let us fight with those official genin? I heard that the former student's graduation assessment was to fight with the official genin. Ino talked about the gossip that he didn't know where he got it. Don't worry, it's over now, at most it's just a test of 3-body technique. Night God Ryosuke directly revealed the correct answer to them, lest they guess here and scare themselves. Test 3-body technique. Both Ino and Hinata looked at Yagami Ryosuke in surprise, obviously they didn't expect the exam to be so easy. Now is an era of peace. For the village, genin has plenty of time to cultivate slowly, so the difficulty of graduation will naturally not be too high. Yagami Ryosuke explained. So this is all. The two nodded suddenly. If it's 3-body technique, it's totally fine. Ino said with a smile. Fortunately, she was a little worried before. As a result, it turned out to be just the 3-body technique. Cut. This is too simple. It's not true that someone who has studied for 6 years can't even use the 3-body technique proficiently, right? No way. In the room at night, Night God Ryosuke is sitting at the desk, looking at some talent entries he has gained in the past 2.5 years. Night God Ryosuke. Talent entry. Son of Destiny, Gold. Spirit of Vengeance, Gold. Cursed Eye, Gold. Indra's Resentment, Gold. King of Mouth Escape, Golden. The Incarnation of the Demon Fox, Golden. Ashura's Mercy, Golden. White-Eyed Princess, Purple. Student Master, Purple. 50% off, Gold. Burning Soul of Youth, Purple. Uchiha Madara Approved Man, Gold. The Invisible, Purple. Your existence is easy to be ignored. Even if you stand in front of you, you may be ignored by others. Sense of Presence 1500%. Little Rich Woman, Purple. You are very rich. Growing up, you never knew what it felt like to be short of money. Money plus 100,000 taels per day. The money gain you get plus 500%. Comes with space transfer. Martyr, Purple. If life has color, then your life must be gray. Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang. One less person from now on. White Eyes Observation Distance plus 200%. 8 trigrams Palms Power plus 200%. Comes with Revolving Heaven. Akamaru's Owner, Purple. You have a dog, and you have a very good relationship with it. You eat and live together. Canine Summoning Beast Favorability plus 1000%. I'm strong, Purple. I'm not fat. I am plump, and I'm strong. Food Absorption Efficiency plus 1000%. Flower Fairy, Purple. A touch of bright gold among thousands of flowers. I was born to be the proud daughter of the heavens that everyone is looking forward to. Mental Power plus 300%. Illusion Resistance plus 300%. Violence Maniac, Purple. You like violence. Violence makes you feel good inside. This may be the other side of you hidden deep in your heart. Physical Skill Power plus 500%. Comes with Strange Power. Master of Sword Tao, Purple. You have a deep understanding of Sword Tao. Your swordsmanship is superb enough to be called a master swordsman. Sword Training Efficiency plus 400%. Sword Power plus 400%. Master of Illusion, Purple. You have a deep understanding of illusion. Your illusion is so superb that you can be called a master of illusion. Illusion Power plus 500%. Attached. Tree Binding Kill. Number of conversions. 0 times. Biological Pheromone Warehouse. A pile of various hairs. Free experience value. 4,566 points. I will not write what I have written before, mainly the talent entries that the protagonist will obtain later. On the interface, all the talent entries currently equipped by Night God Ryosuke are listed. In addition to a large number of golden talent entries in front. The following are all purple talent entries. After 2 years of continuous transformation of entries by Night God Ryosuke, he has also figured out the law of transformation of entries. One is to judge according to the potential of the converted target. Basically, those who have super shadow potential in the future can be transformed into golden talent entries. Like Naruto, like Sasuke, in the Fourth Ninja World War, Kakashi also obtained another eye brought back from the Pure Land by Obito, thus possessing super shadow combat power, so he can also transform into a golden talent entry. Needless to say, Might Guy. Proper super cage level combat power. Although the maintenance time is a bit short, but no matter how short it is beyond cage level. And cage level potential, or occupying a relatively important position, the converted entries are basically purple. Such as the other 10 people in the 12 Little Strong. Although the future potential is not everyone is cage level. But being able to rank among the top 12 heroes alongside Naruto and Sasuke is obviously a character who occupies a lot of space in this world, so the talent entries transformed from them are also purple. And like Yuhi Hong, Azuki Shion, and Sarutobi Asuma and the like. The entries transformed from them are basically blue. One is that the future potential is less than cage level. The other is also not enough coffee seats. And compared with, like Iruka and Mizuki, basically, it can only be transformed into green talent entries. Night God Ryosuke has converted a talent entry on time every day for more than 2 years. The reason why after more than 2 years, there are only a few entries retained is because most of the entries he transformed later are useless entries. Basically, they were broken down by him and turned into free experience points. Therefore, in more than 2 years, he has accumulated more than 4,000 free experience points. All of them were obtained by dismantling those useless entries, and he also used up 2,000 experience points. It was spent on the two talent entries, Master of Swordsmanship and Master of Illusion. The former is an entry transformed from Uyu Xian. The latter is the entry transformed from Yu Hong. It was all blue at first. Night God Ryosuke saw that their attributes were not bad, so he spent 2,000 experience points to upgrade them to purple. It started with the entries of Sword Master and Illusion Master. After upgrading to purple, it becomes the current name. If you upgrade them to gold, it is estimated that it will change. But it is still inseparable from the two themes of Kendo and Illusion. Actually, the entry Chimaru's Master in the purple talent entry. Night God Ryosuke also wants to dismantle it. He doesn't need the opinion bonus of some canine summoning beast. That thing is useless to him. The reason why it was not disassembled is because Night God Ryosuke can't get 10,000 free experience points for the time being. And decomposing a purple talent entry will give 1,000 experience points. Adding what he has now, it is not enough to upgrade any purple talent entry to gold. That's why it's left undisassembled for the time being. Chapter 51. Next, I call the person whose name came in to take the exam. The content of today's exam is Clone Technique. Ninja School, Playground. Year 6 graduates are waiting for their graduation exams to begin. At this time, Uruka came over with a list and announced the content of today's exam to the 6th graders present. When they heard that the content of the exam was Clone Technique, some students who hadn't fully mastered Clone Technique showed expressions of despair. No, I can only create one clone now, will it fail? It's miserable, I feel like I might be repeating a grade. Oops, I haven't learned the clone technique yet. As for Class A, grade 6, everyone was smiling. Being able to enter Class A is itself a symbol of talent. Even the ordinary students in Class A are much more talented than those in Class B and C. Therefore, there is no one in Class A who has not learned the clone technique in the 6th grade. After all, it's just an E-level 3 body technique. Very low difficulty. If you can't even learn the 3 body technique, which is only grade E in 6 years, then it's enough to show that you don't have the talent to become a ninja. In this case, it is better to give up as soon as possible and learn another craft. Being an ordinary person is more suitable for you. Certainly, there are exceptions. For example, the previous Naruto could not learn the clone technique. But Naruto is a special case. It's not that he doesn't have this talent, but that there are too many additional interference factors. But now Naruto is not the Naruto who only knew pranks more than 2 years ago. In more than 2 years, many people and things have changed. Naturally, Naruto is also included. Today's Naruto, with a strong body, stands taller than other children of the same age around him by more than half a head. It is no longer the dwarf winter melon of the past, nor is it the thin hemp pole. I don't know when, Naruto changed his iconic suit in the past few years, and began to love close-fitting training clothes. I heard that Naruto had mixed with Might Guy 2 years ago, and practiced martial arts together. But, fortunately, Naruto's aesthetics will not completely deviate from the category of normal people. At least he didn't change into the same green jumpsuit as Might Guy and Lee, or it would be too bad. At this time, standing in the crowd, Naruto has a confident smile on his lips. After hearing Mr. Uruka announce that the content of the exam is clone technique, he did not show a painful expression but was very confident. It's just a clone technique, it's too simple, Naruto said with a smile. The classmates next to him couldn't help but look at him with strange eyes. After all, put it more than 2 years ago. At this moment Naruto must have been complaining. However, the changes in Naruto over the past 2 years are obvious to all. In the usual school battle practice, Naruto even won the 2nd place. Yes, Sasuke lost to Naruto several times. For this reason, Sasuke also practiced harder and harder. In terms of strength, it is much stronger than when Konoha was in the 60th year of the original book. Now he has not learned Chidori except. Basically, it is almost the same as the strength of Chunin at the time of the exam. Sharingan was also turned on when it was first defeated by Naruto last year. In fact, Sasuke's Sharingan has been successfully opened a few years ago, that is, the night of Genocide Night. It's just that even Sasuke himself doesn't know about this matter. I never realized that I had actually opened my eyes. It was not until he was defeated by Naruto, whom he always looked down upon, that Sasuke seemed to be stimulated by something and directly opened one Tomo Sharingan. After opening eyes, Sasuke's strength has indeed improved a lot compared to opening eyes. In the next few practice sessions, Naruto lost to him. But 3 months later, Sasuke lost to Naruto again, because Naruto learned a very good physical technique from Might Guy and defeated Sasuke by surprise. And after that, the two guys started a year-long match. Sometimes you win and sometimes I win. Overall, it was Sasuke who won more. After all, there is a big difference between Uchiha with eyes open and Uchiha without eyes open. Although it's just a single hook jade. And this kind of competition seems to have promoted the warming up of the relationship between the two. Now, the one who has the best relationship with Naruto in the class is Ryosuke, the Night God, and Sasuke is the one who is next in line. Even if Night God Ryosuke is not Naruto's first official good friend, he has to be ranked below Sasuke. After all, the bond between Ashura and Indra is no joke. Ichiro Sato, qualified. Coriander Kunaiko, qualified. Kazama Grass Field, qualified. Classmates were called in one by one to take the exam. In Class A, basically everyone who went in came out with a smile. The other classes were not so lucky. Basically, 1 out of 3 is a failure. You can only repeat the grade, or simply leave the ninja school and give up becoming a ninja. Yagami Ryosuke stood with Ino and Hinata under a big tree to enjoy the shade while waiting for his name to be called. Looking at some students over there who failed to get the forehead protector, Yagami Ryosuke didn't have any sympathy in his eyes. Those who can't even practice 3-body technique well in 6 years, making them become ninjas will only harm them. Yamanaka Ino. At this time, Ino's name was also called. I'm going in. Ino said something to the two, then ran into the classroom with a smile. After a while, Ino came out with a forehead protector. She came over with a giggle and asked Night God Ryosuke to help her tie the forehead protector. Night God Ryosuke also smiled and said congratulations, and then helped Ino tie the forehead protector around her waist. Ino has a thin waist. It's the kind of water snake waist with a grip. But the upper body is already showing its initial scale. Although it cannot be compared with Hinata, it is no longer a steamed bun. Nara Shikamaru. Brush. A figure jumped down from the tree. Coming. Shikamaru responded feebly, then walked over there slowly. For more than 2 years, Shikamaru is still the same. It's still the same look of being indifferent to everything. After a while, Shikamaru came out from the classroom. Already put on the forehead protector. Congratulations. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Ryosuke, don't make fun of me, just take a clone technique. Shikamaru supported the forehead protector on his arm, and said lazily. You're wrong. I didn't see that there are still many people who failed the exam, so I still want to congratulate you. Yagami Ryosuke said with a grin. Shikamaru was speechless. Could it be the same? After a while, Hinata's name was also called, and she went in to complete the graduation exam and successfully obtained her own forehead protector. Ryosuke. Hinata came over with the forehead protector, and handed it to Night God Ryosuke with a smile, asking him to help him tie it up. Shikamaru on the side glanced and couldn't help the corners of his mouth twitching. Ryosuke is really good at taking care of Ino and Hinata at the same time. Single quote. This is also what Shikamaru admires most about Night God Ryosuke. It doesn't count if you practice hard by yourself and become the head student of the class from the penultimate counterattack. The key point is that he still has the energy to deal with the two girls and make them follow him willingly. If his father had half the ability of Night God Ryosuke, he wouldn't be scolded by his mother for every chess game. Thinking of this made Shikamaru sad. Because he feels that he is similar to his father, and there is a high probability that he will be a strict wife in the future. How about learning from Ryosuke? Shikamaru couldn't help having such a thought in his heart. But after thinking about it, Shikamaru decided to forget it. The main reason is that he thinks that he has a high probability of not being able to learn it. Let's find a wife with a gentle personality in the future, at least I won't be scolded. Shikamaru thought. Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke, who was surrounded by 2 or 3 girls, walked towards the classroom upon hearing this. When he left, he glanced at Naruto who was doing push-ups not far away. This guy should be alright. Sasuke is inevitably a little worried. After all, in the past 2 years, he has never seen Naruto use the clone technique, and the battle between the two is basically a duel of physical skills. Ninjutsu is rarely used, and Naruto did not show his talent in ninjutsu, but he was very good at physical skills, making people mistakenly think that he is an individual ninjutsu. But in fact, Naruto has already learned the signature ninjutsu of Rasengan. And also learn and use. He developed moves like Big Ball Rasengan and Mini Rasengan himself. Now Naruto's strength is actually stronger than when Chunin took the exam. After all, during the Chunin exam, although he had Jiraiya's guidance, the training time was only 1 month after all, which was too short. But now it's different. Naruto has been practicing for more than 2 years. The control over chakra in the body has also improved too much. He is no longer Zangjin's Wuxia. Now, if he can use Rasengan-type ninjutsu, Naruto can defeat Sasuke in minutes. The ordinary Chunin is no match for him at all. But Naruto has yet to get another signature ninjutsu of his own, the multiple shadow clone technique. Just a normal shadow clone, kind of not worthy of his massive chakra. After all, that's a full 120 calories of chakra. Yes. The total amount of chakra in Naruto's body now is more than the 100 calories in the original book. Because of the long-term exercise, the advantages of the Vortex Sage body have been well developed, and the active control of chakra to absorb and dissipate the Nine Tails chakra, so that Naruto's chakra is 20% more than the original historical track. And this extra 20 calories of chakra, it can be completely controlled by Naruto himself. Not like the 96 calories chakra that was used to suppress the gap in the Nine Tails seal. It's something he can't usually mobilize. But Naruto had seen Nine Tails in the sewers more than a year ago. One person and one fox have officially known each other for more than a year. Naruto would occasionally take the initiative to go into the sewer to see Nine Tails and chat with him. Therefore, if he speaks, Nine Tails will still take the initiative to restrain his chakra, so that he can use the remaining 96 cards of chakra smoothly. After a while, Sasuke also came out of the classroom wearing a forehead protector. He walked over to Naruto and looked at him. "Hey, you guys don't suddenly lose the chain," Sasuke said a little arrogantly. "Before I graduate and become a genin, you're still in ninja school." Brush. Naruto stretched his arms and stood up straight away. He looked at Sasuke with a smile and said, "Sasuke, are you caring about me?" "Cut. I just don't want to lose a good opponent." Sasuke turned his head arrogantly, not admitting that he was caring about Naruto. "Don't worry, it's just a clone technique. How difficult it is for me, Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto laughed and put his arm around Sasuke's shoulder. "You're sweating." Sasuke pushed him angrily, but the strong Naruto couldn't push him away at all. "I had no choice but to let him hug me." Over there, Ryosuke, the night god under the tree, watched the interaction between the two with a smile, with a gratified anti-smile on his face. "Ryosuke, you're smiling so weirdly." Ino on the side couldn't help but said. She looked over there and asked, "Is there anything strange about Sasuke and Naruto?" "No, I just think the relationship between the two of them is really good," Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Ino and Hinata didn't understand what he said. "I thought it was just a literal good feeling." But Shikamaru at the side suddenly looked at Naruto and Sasuke with strange eyes, and then shuddered inexplicably. No, Ryosuke was supposed to be joking, right? Shikamaru thought. If this is true, that's too. Uzumaki Naruto. At this time, Iruka's voice came from the classroom over there. "It's my turn." Naruto let go of his hand, smiled at Sasuke, then turned around and gave a thumbs up to Ryosuke, the night god under the tree over there, showing 2 rows of white teeth. "Night god Ryosuke, you even learned this trick. I recommend Naruto to practice with Might Guy, is it wrong?" At this moment, Yagami Ryosuke couldn't help but doubt himself a little. He knows that Naruto learns things very quickly. But you can't learn everything. There is no need to learn this kind of trick. Yagami Ryosuke is a bit regretful. However, now it seems that it is too late to regret. Naruto seems to have grown a little crooked. Fortunately, not quite crooked yet. In the classroom, Naruto walked in confidently. Naruto, go ahead, use the clone technique. Iruka sat on the examiner's seat and said to Naruto who came in. Looking at the tall Naruto in front of him, Iruka also showed a gratified expression on his face. 2 years ago, this kid was still a prick, he only knew how to play pranks all day long, which caused him a lot of trouble, greatly increased his workload, and caused him to have no time to find his girlfriend. 2 years later, Zungjin's prankster has become an obedient and sensible student in Iruka's eyes. Don't bother him anymore. Lately, he's even found time to go on blind dates. Met a lot of beautiful girls. By the way, are you going to have dinner with Xiaohui tonight? Or go to the movies with Lizzie? Iruka couldn't help but began to struggle. And at this time, Naruto has also used the two-handed mudra, displaying the clone technique. Boom! A sheet of white smoke dispersed. 3 clones are revealed standing around Naruto. 3 clones, not bad. Iruka came back to his senses, nodded with a smile and said. Then in the column of grades behind Naruto's name, a stamp of passing was stamped. Naruto, this is your forehead protector, keep it safe and don't lose it. Iruka smiled and picked up a forehead protector and handed it to Naruto. Okay, Teacher Iruka. Naruto took the forehead protector happily, and put it on his forehead excitedly. Iruka-sensei, do I look good like this? He asked Iruka showing off. Well, it's very good looking and handsome. Iruka said with a smile. On the other hand, Mizuki couldn't hold back any longer. He was very upset when he saw the fox kid in front of him, and this kid took Iruka teacher one by one. Didn't he take Mizuki seriously? Okay, Naruto, hurry up and get out after the exam, there are others to take the exam later. Mizuki endured the anger in his heart and reminded with a smile. Okay, then Teacher Iruka, I'm leaving first. Naruto greeted Iruka before turning around and leaving, ignoring Mizuki at all. This made both hands under the Mizuki table clenched into fists. You fox kid. Of course Naruto is not the kind of impolite person, but because he has known Nine Tails for more than a year, he occasionally chats with Nine Tails, so through Nine Tails he knows that Mr. Mizuki has deep malice towards him. That's why he doesn't like to talk to this guy. You are obviously scolding me in your heart, don't think I don't know if you pretend to be smiling. Out. Sasuke has been staring at the door since Naruto went in. Sasuke was relieved when he saw Naruto coming out wearing a forehead protector. This guy, he knows the clone technique. It made me worry for nothing for so long. Sasuke thought a little angrily. But I went up and congratulated Naruto. Sasuke, do you think I look handsome in this way? Naruto asked with a giggle, scratching the forehead protector on his forehead. Like a big idiot, Sasuke pouted and said, Cut, Sasuke, you're being dishonest again. Naruto laughed and put his arms around Sasuke's neck. Then he came to Ryosuke, the night god, to share his joy at this moment. Congratulations, Naruto, you can finally become a ninja, and you have to work hard in the future. Yagami Ryosuke patted Naruto on the shoulder and said encouragingly. Well, don't worry Ryosuke, I'm practicing with Mr. Guy, and I'm working hard every day. Naruto said emphatically. Night God Ryosuke. It's better if you don't mention Might Guy. When I mention Might Guy, I feel a little guilty again. Fortunately, at this time, the name of Night God Ryosuke was also called in the classroom. It's my turn, I'll go first. Night God Ryosuke said to the friends around him, and then walked into the front classroom. Ryosuke, use the clone technique, it will be fine if it's you. Iruka looked at the Night God Ryosuke who walked in, with a gratified smile on his face. Night God Ryosuke and Naruto are definitely the 2 most fulfilling students he has taught. Because both of them counterattacked from the tail of the crane. Especially Ryosuke, directly from the second to last 10,000 years, to the current chief student. This made Iruka think that his teaching ability has been recognized, otherwise why would the students work so hard to improve themselves? It must be my earnest teaching that has worked. Iruka-sensei, then I'll start. Yagami Ryosuke said, also ignoring Mizuki on the side. This made Mizuki even more angry. 1 or 2, they only have Iruka in their eyes, right? Just wait, sooner or later I will let you all know how powerful I am Mizuki. Mizuki thought viciously in his heart. If eyes can kill Night God Ryosuke, I am afraid that Night God Ryosuke has died countless times by now. Boom. Night God Ryosuke released the clone technique instantly with a simple knot seal. To be honest, he didn't practice the clone technique much. As for the body replacement technique, I have practiced it for a period of time. After all, this thing is very practical. Although it is not the legendary teleportation, it can play a very important role in the battle. But Night God Ryosuke has never used the clone technique. But his chakra control is too strong. It doesn't take much practice, but it works great. The white smoke dissipated, and 5 clones stood around Night God Ryosuke. This is already Night God Ryosuke restraining himself. Otherwise, he can create dozens of clones at will. Of course, it's not that he deliberately showed off his skills. What's so good about ordinary avatars? It's simply that his ninjutsu power bonus is too high. It directly overstated the effect of clone technique. Pass. Uruka gave Night God Ryosuke a stamp of approval with a smile. Then hand him a forehead protector. We must continue to work hard in the future. Uruka said. Okay, Teacher Uruka, then I'll go out first. Night God Ryosuke nodded, then turned and left the classroom with the forehead protector in hand. Come out, come out. Seeing Yagami Ryosuke coming out of the classroom, Ino and Hinata hurried up to meet him. As for being so excited, this kind of exam is not difficult for Ryosuke at all. Naruto on the side said with a bit of taste. No way. Although his strength has improved now and he doesn't play pranks anymore, he still seems to be unpopular in the girl circle. Certainly, it's also possible that he licked Haruno Sakura so much that the other girls in the class thought Naruto already had his own, so they didn't think about him at all. Next, Haruno Sakura. At this time, little Sakura's name was also called in the classroom. Little Sakura, come on. Naruto immediately shouted to come on. The little Sakura in front staggered and almost fell. She turned her head and gave Naruto a fierce look, and then walked into the classroom angrily. Little Sakura, don't fail to graduate. At this time, Ino smiled and brightened the forehead protector tied around his waist, and said with a smile. Don't worry, I will definitely graduate. Little Sakura finished speaking angrily, pushed open the door and walked into the classroom. Little Sakura should be fine. Hinata on the side said. Hinata, I'm not worried about little Sakura. Ino said bluntly. Hinata just smiled, as if he had seen through everything. Ryosuke, let me tie you up. Ino, who was a little guilty after being seen by Hinata, quickly took the forehead protector from Ryosuke, the night god, and helped him put it on. Alright, Ino withdrew his hand and looked at him with a smile. What's wrong? Night god Ryosuke asked her. No, I just think Ryosuke, you seem to be getting more and more handsome. Ino smiled and put his arm around him. Yagami Ryosuke smiled upon hearing this. He didn't feel that way himself. The main thing is that he can see himself in the mirror every day, maybe there are some subtle changes, but he doesn't feel much. The graduation exam lasted all morning, and it was basically over. People who successfully pass the exam and get a forehead protector are naturally happy. While sharing the joy with his family, he gloated at those unlucky ones who failed the exam. The gate of the ninja school. Yagami Ryosuke took Ino and Hinata to say hello to his mother Yagami Mizuki. Mom, this is Hinata, this is Ino, you've seen it before. Yagami Ryosuke pulled the embarrassed 2 people beside him and introduced. Even Ino, who is usually carefree, has become a little awkward at this time. Hi auntie, my name is Yamanaka Ino. Hi auntie, I'm Hyuga Hinata, a friend of Ryosuke. Hinata is embarrassed to say that she is the girlfriend of Night God Ryosuke. After all, this is the future mother-in-law. Hinata is very nervous now. She was afraid that Night God Ryosuke's mother would dislike her. But Hinata is completely overwhelmed. At this moment, Yagami Miyu looked at the 2 little girlfriends brought by her son, and felt extremely happy. My son has a promising future. I knew I would bring my girlfriend to meet me right after graduation, and there were still 2 of them. But, hearing the surnames of Hinata and Ino, Yagami Mizuki was still a little worried. After all, both Hyuga and Yamanaka are big families in the village. And their Yagami family is not a ninja family. Purely civilians. I don't know if my son can get the approval of the elders of these 2 big families. Even though Yagami Mizuki knew that her son had done very well in school in the past 2 years, he was already the head student in the class. But, The ninja world is not as simple as a ninja school. As a medical chunin, Mizuki Yagami is well aware of the cruelty of the ninja world. I was also worried about whether my son would be hurt. Yagami Ryosuke brought Hinata and Ino over to say hello to his mother, Yagami Mizuki, and then told his mother that he was going out to have dinner with his classmates at noon. Dinning together. That's fine, now that you've all graduated, there won't be as many opportunities to meet again in the future. Yagami Mizuki is also an experienced person, and genin will be assigned to each genin team until after graduation. If they want to meet again in the future, it will not be as simple as in the past. After all, ninjas have to go out on missions. However, for genin, it is generally some D-level tasks. For example, help with weeding, taking care of children, looking for pets and so on. Although cumbersome and boring, but at least there's no danger. Mainly to get genins used to life as a genin. Belonging is a transitional stage. After greeting his mother, Yagami Ryosuke followed Ino and Hinata to meet their parents. Ino's side, today is her mother, Yamanaka Rhino. She is a very dignified and generous-looking lady. Seeing his daughter coming with a handsome little boy, Yamanaka also looked at Ryosuke with a smile. Mom, we're going out for dinner at noon, so I won't go home for dinner. Ino came up and said directly. By the way, this is Ryosuke, Mom, you've seen it before. Ino took Ryosuke's hand and said. Yamanaka Ryosuke had been to Yamanaka's flower shop to buy flowers before, so he also met Ino's mother a few times. Hi Auntie, I'm Ino's classmate, Yagami Ryosuke. Yagami Ryosuke greeted politely. This is my future mother-in-law. You must be polite. Hello, Ryosuke. Our Ino usually has a bad temper, so it doesn't bother you. Yamanaka Rhino is also someone who has been there. She and Ino's father, Yamanaka Hayi, also met when they were in school. At the beginning, the two of them were also childhood sweethearts, just like the night gods Ryosuke and Ino today. So Yamanaka Lie naturally understands the relationship between the two, so she said that. Mother. Ino pulled his mother's arm with embarrassment. No auntie, Ino has a very good personality, I should have troubled her to take care of her. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Ino did not show any bad temper in front of him, but not in front of others. Especially Shikamaru and Choji. Just like Ino's younger brother, he is often called around. But Yishen Ryosuke also knows that it is because the three of them have a good relationship, they are friends who grew up together, and the personality relationship of the three. It's not that Ino has a bad temper. It's not like Shikamaru and Choji are particularly easy to play with either. It is mainly divided. Ino's mother has a good sense of night god Ryosuke. I feel that Yagami Ryosuke is an obedient and sensible boy, and he is good looking. She obviously knows that her daughter is a good-looking party, and Ryosuke is the chief student of this year, at least it will be an official Jonin's achievement in the future. Not worthy of their Ino. So relatively recognized. But, her husband, Yamanaka, is probably not so easy to talk to. Fortunately, the person who came today is not Ino's father. Otherwise, night god Ryosuke doubts whether he will be on the blacklist of his future father-in-law. After all, he tricked the old father-in-law's little padded jacket away. Yamanaka is afraid that he even wants to kill him, right? For Ino's parents, it's actually easy to solve. The most troublesome thing is Hyuga's side. When Yagami Ryosuke and Hinata met her father Hyuga Hiyashi in the past, the latter didn't look good. On the one hand, it is dissatisfaction with the eldest daughter. On the other hand, it is also dissatisfaction with Ryosuke, the night god. A mere ninja of civilian origin. So what if he is the chief student? The ninja school has a chief student every year, is it possible that all of them are promising? Fortunately, night god Ryosuke, the chief student, has a high gold content because of Uchiha Sasuke as the background board. At least Hyuga Hiyashi didn't get mad on the spot and say something nasty. Mostly just ignore him. Go home early, don't play outside too late. After Hyuga Hiyashi gave some casual advice, he turned around and left with two ninjas from Hyuga's family. I didn't say a word to night god Ryosuke the whole time. It seemed very indifferent. Sorry, Ryosuke. After his father left, Hinata also said to Ryosuke with an apologetic face. My father may be in a bad mood, not against you. It's okay, I didn't take it to heart. Yagami Ryosuke took Hinata's little hand and said with a smile. For Hyuga Hiyashi's attitude, Night God Ryosuke really didn't take it seriously. Not because of how big he is. It's because Yagami Ryosuke knows very well in his heart that no matter what Hyuga Hiyashi's attitude towards him is, it won't change anything. Hyuga Hiyashi agrees with him being with Hinata, or disagrees. Could it be that Night God Ryosuke really listens to him? As for saying, the influence of the Hyuga clan. Feel sorry. Night God Ryosuke doesn't look down on the Hyuga clan, but the Hyuga clan really has nothing for him to look up to. Not to mention the deep-rooted branch house culture. In terms of strength, the Hyuga clan who can't even get a cage level, what qualifications do they have to make the Night God Ryosuke look up to them? Yagami Ryosuke was already cage level when he was 11 years old. And now, he can hit average cage level with one hand. The Hyuga clan doesn't even have a cage level ninja. Even if the whole clan comes together, it's not enough for Ryosuke, the Night God, to fight with one hand. So, what does Yagami Ryosuke have to take to heart? If Hyuga Hiyashi is smart, Night God Ryosuke would still recognize him as his father-in-law. If not smart, at worst, just pretend that Hinata doesn't have this father. Anyway, Hinata was not happy in the Hyuga clan. I will be with Night God Ryosuke in the future, so what if I don't return to the Hyuga clan? Could it be that Hyuga Hiyashi dared to call someone to kidnap Hinata? Night God Ryosuke gave him 2 hands, he doesn't even have the ability. Certainly, in this matter, Night God Ryosuke has to take care of Hinata's emotions, so unless the Hyuga clan commits suicide by themselves, Night God Ryosuke is too lazy to learn from them. As a big family, in the eyes of the real strong, it doesn't even count as a fart. When did you ever see Uchiha Madara put the so-called ninja in his eyes? Aban only has big pillars in his eyes. For lunch, we chose a barbecue restaurant run by the Akamaiki family. In terms of money, everyone is and they will not intentionally cheat Choji. Although Choji doesn't care about the money either. This time, there are many more people coming to the dinner party than last time when Yagami Ryosuke and the others had a picnic. 9 of the future wood industry 12 small strong came. Except for Hyuga Neji from Guy's class, everyone else came. I didn't expect all of our class to graduate smoothly. When I saw those who failed the exams in Class B and C, I was worried that there would be someone in our Class A who failed the exam. I didn't expect that there were none in the end. Inuzuka took a sip of the juice, and suddenly smiled and said to Naruto who was beside him, "Naruto, you are deliberately keeping a hand, right? I have never seen the clone technique before, and I thought you hadn't learned it yet." "Cut, it's just a clone technique, I don't rarely use it." Naruto had a smug expression on his face. He is also in a good mood today. If the little Sakura next to him can look at him a few more times, he may be in a better mood. Pity. Little Sakura's attention was on Sasuke on the other side, and she didn't even look at Naruto. This made Naruto couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable with Sasuke. "We will be officially genin from now on, haha. Inuzuka, is also a ninja." Inuzuka Teba smiled happily, and couldn't help reaching out to touch his forehead protector again. "Tooth, it's too early for you to be happy." Yagami Ryosuke glanced at Inuzuka Fang, smiled and poured cold water on him. What does that mean?" Inuzuka Tooth looked over with a puzzled expression. "The same goes for everyone else." "Ryosuke, are you saying we're not officially genin yet?" Shikamaru thought about it, and remembered that his father had vaguely mentioned that there seemed to be a test after graduation. But Naruluju obviously didn't go into details, but simply mentioned it. Shikamaru has a good memory, so he remembered it. In fact, the situation in other people's homes is similar. Their parents certainly know that graduating from ninja school doesn't count as an official genin. They still have to pass Jonin's assessment, and lead the Jonin to say that you can do it before they can truly become an official genin. Otherwise, you have to go back and read it for another year. Hearing Shikamaru's words, the others looked at Night God Ryosuke. "Wait for him to testify. You should all know that after we graduate from ninja school, we will be assigned to a Jonin to form a team, right?" Night God Ryosuke said unhurriedly. "I know this. Genin who just graduated will form a genin team in groups of 3, and the team will be led by a Jonin, who will be our future instructor." Naruto said quickly. This is what he heard from Xiao Li. Everyone else knows a little bit about it, too. That is, little Sakura and Sasuke don't know much about it. One of them was born as a civilian. He was the only one left in a family, and no one told him this common sense. Then do you know that Jonin, the leader of the team, will conduct a test on the same day as the Genin team under him? Yagami Ryosuke said. If we didn't pass the test, we would be sent back to study for another year. Ah, don't. When the others heard the news, they immediately showed painful expressions. Especially Inuzuka Kiba, who had a happy face just now. Now he put on the pain mask directly. No, I don't want to go back to school. Inuzuka Teba yelled, I will definitely pass the test of leading Jonin, and I will definitely not be sent back to repeat. It depends on what kind of Jonin you've been assigned to. Night God Ryosuke glanced at him with a smile, and said, if you are assigned to some talkative Jonin, then the test is basically just a formality. But I heard that there is an elite Jonin named Hitaki Kakashi who has very strict requirements on the students under him. He has already eliminated several groups of Genin teams. He claims to be the leader Jonin with a 0 pass rate. While saying this, Night God Ryosuke glanced at Naruto and Sasuke. After all, Kakashi will soon be their leader Jonin. This time, with the advance foreshadowing of the Night God Ryosuke, after they knew that their leader Jonin was Kakashi, their faces changed in fear. Interesting to think about. That's right, Night God Ryosuke is actually trying to scare them on purpose. It is said that other people may be sent back to repeat their studies, but none of these people present were sent back to repeat their studies. On the one hand, their abilities have reached the official Genin standard, and there is no shortage of abilities. On the other hand, it is also their background. Not to mention Haruno Sakura, a civilian ninja, but he was assigned to the 7th class and was destined not to be eliminated. Others, which one is not Konoha's big family background? Nara, Yamanaka, Hyuga, Inuzuka, Aburame, Akamaiki, and even the exterminated Uchiha. Which one is not the Konoha clan? As for Naruto, that's the prince. Have you heard that the prince was eliminated to repeat his studies? So, Night God Ryosuke is saying this now, but it's just his bad taste. Just tease them. But, if it is other civilians, it is really possible to be beaten back and repeat the exam. And some simply gave up being ninjas. So Night God Ryosuke is not exactly scaring people, this is indeed true. It's just a scorer. Bless you, Sage of 6 Paths. Be sure to arrange a good-tempered leader Jonin for me. As soon as Yagami Ryosuke finished speaking, Inuzuka Fang was already muttering. Aburame Shino, who was sitting next to him, rolled his eyes under the sunglasses when he heard it. Sage of 6 Paths has nothing to do to bless you with such a boring thing. The next day, the prospective Genins who passed the graduation exam yesterday all came to the ninja school and were ready to be divided into classes. Yagami Ryosuke also came to the classroom early, sat and waited for the class division to start. He was also very curious, which class would he be assigned to? Originally, Zhu Shaoqiang's 3 classes seemed to have been specially arranged. If there were no accidents, there was a high probability that he would not be able to get in. In this case, they can only be assigned to the same class with some other characters, and there is a high probability that they will not arrange any real director Jonin to lead the team. If that's the case, Night God Ryosuke plans to directly assign a shadow clone at that time, and let the shadow clone follow the team to perform those D-level tasks. And he continued to practice. Waited in the classroom for a few minutes. Everyone was discussing noisily who they would be in the same group with later. At this time, Uruka also walked in with a roster. Okay, everyone be quiet. Uruka shouted loudly. First of all, congratulations on graduating successfully. Next, I will announce the class division. There will be 3 students in each class. We will start from the first class. Uruka picked up the roster and read along. First class, Sato Ichiro, Coriander Kanai, Kazama Kusatako. The 3 people whose names were called also looked at each other and smirked at each other. Second class, the third shift. Uruka kept saying the names one by one. But there is no Night God Ryosuke's name. 7th class, Haruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke. Yeah, I'm in the same class as little Sakura. Naruto jumped up happily when he heard that his name was in the same class as little Sakura. Great, I'm in the same class as Sasuke. And Haruno Sakura looked at the cool Uchiha Sasuke over there with heartache. He completely ignored Naruto, who was trying to get her attention. Uruka calmed Naruto down with a smile, and then continued to read the following names. Squad 8, Inazuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata. Class 9, Class 10, Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji. Okay, this is the division of everyone. Do you remember who your teammates are? After reading, Uruka put down the roster in his hand, looked at the faces in the classroom and said with a smile. At this time, Ino suddenly raised his hand and asked, Mr. Uruka, why didn't you say Ryosuke's name just now? The others also looked at Uruka suspiciously. Yagami Ryosuke is the chief student of their Class A, so it is impossible to fail to graduate, right? Night God Ryosuke has a special arrangement, and I will go to see Hokage-sama with me later. Uruka explained. Oh my god, I'm going to see Master Hokage. Amazing, as expected of the chief student. So, is Night God Ryosuke going to work with Hokage-sama in the future? It's hard to say, maybe there is another team arrangement. In the classroom, after hearing Uruka's explanation, everyone started discussing. Some people looked at Night God Ryosuke with envy. On the contrary, Night God Ryosuke himself frowned. Sarutobi Hiruzen going to arrange himself personally. Night God Ryosuke always felt that this old monkey didn't hold back any good farts. At this time, in Hokage's office, a group of jonin are gathered here, watching the classroom through the crystal ball. Is this brat the chief student of this year? Kakashi glanced at the Night God Ryosuke in the crystal ball with one eye. He vaguely remembered meeting this little ghost in the Ichiraku ramen restaurant more than 2 years ago. Does Hokage-sama have any special plans for Ryosuke? On the side, Yuhi Hong asked curiously. In the past 2 years, Yagami Ryosuke also often visited Yuhi Hong's house as a guest, and occasionally even slept there. Therefore, the relationship between the two is also like that of siblings. It is normal for Yuhi Hong to care about the arrangement of Yagami Ryosuke. This old man has other arrangements, and you will know when the time comes. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile, and even played tricks. Okay, the class placement is over now, it's time for you to meet these future students. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved them off and let them go. It's really troublesome, I'll take a step first. Asuma muttered something, then turned and walked away. But other people are not as casual as Asuma, and they dare not directly complain about troubles in front of Mr. Hokage. But who told people that Asuma is the son of third Hokage? It is reasonable for people to be rude to their father. But they are just subordinates. Of course not so casual. WWW. In classrooms. After Uruka announced the results of class placement, everyone was asked to wait in the classroom for their respective leader jonin to come and lead them. Ryosuke, go to see Hokage-sama with the teacher, 220. Uruka said to Night God Ryosuke. Okay, Teacher Uruka. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, followed by appeasing the emotions of Ino and Hinata around him, and then left the classroom with Uruka. I don't know what Hokage-sama will do with Ryosuke. Hinata watched the Night God Ryosuke disappear from sight, and said worriedly. Don't worry, Ryosuke is so strong, Master Hokage must have taken this into consideration before making special arrangements for Ryosuke, and after meeting the leader jonin later, we'll find out when we go to Beijing. Ino at the side patted Hinata at this time, and comforted him. But in fact, she also has some worries and reluctance in her heart. It just didn't show up. The other side. After Yagami Ryosuke followed Uruka all the way out of the ninja school, he went straight to the Hokage building in the center of the village. On the road, Night God Ryosuke was also thinking about how third Hokage would arrange himself. Since he was called over on purpose, there is a high probability that there is a special arrangement. It will not be like a normal genin team, directly arrange a leader jonin, and then take 3 genin to perform some simple tasks, so as to adapt to the ninja life. Although I am the chief student of this year, the talent shown is not exaggerated, and it cannot be compared with the talents of Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi at all. So the possibility that third Hokage intends to take me as an apprentice is basically zero. Since it's not about recruiting apprentices, then either they plan to arrange a special team for me, or they plan to recruit me and let me join ANBU. Night God Ryosuke actually already knew it in his heart. Nothing more than these 2 possibilities. The former is more likely. After all, the criteria for joining ANBU, you have to be a chunin at least, right? I joined ANBU without hearing of genin. For the special team, it may be the team of genin who graduated in the past few years, or simply get me a one-man team, and then arrange a trustworthy jonin to lead. The reason for doing so is nothing more than one point. It's just that he fell in love with the talent of Ryosuke, the night god, and planned to take him for his own use. But because the talent shown by night god Ryosuke is not worthy of Sarutobi Hiruzen's large investment, so the most is to arrange someone on his own to subtly brainwash night god Ryosuke. Maybe give a little favor or something. Like a ninjutsu scroll. Or draw a pie. Anyway, the benefits are definitely limited. You're not planning to use the will of fire to brainwash me. That's not interesting. Yagami Ryosuke sneered inwardly. After thinking about it, if Sarutobi Hiruzen really arranges this way, he will just let a shadow clone deal with it at that time. And his own words. Just keep practicing. Exactly. Night god Ryosuke still feels that his body is still almost meaningless. He tried it before, and ordinary kunai shurikens could no longer pierce his skin. But this is only under normal strength. If night god Ryosuke attacks himself with the power of jonin, it can still cause some small skin injuries. Although that wound healed in the blink of an eye with his recovery ability. But night god Ryosuke is still not satisfied. Such a physique can't withstand those powerful ninjutsu attacks at all. There is still a long way to go before his goal, to resist the attack of a cage-level powerhouse without injury. Although night god Ryosuke does not have to pursue this level of physique. But people always set a goal for themselves. It's like Naruto's goal is to become Hokage. Sasuke's goal is to kill Uchiha Itachi to avenge the innocent souls of the Uchiha clan. Night god Ryosuke's goal at this stage is to cultivate a physique that can resist the attacks of cage-level powerhouses without getting hurt. See clearly, it is physique. Not ninjutsu under the blessing of chakra or something. It's just purely physical defense. To do this, even for night god Ryosuke, it is very difficult. Randomly guessing along the way, the two soon arrived at the Hokage building. When I see Lord Hokage later, remember to be polite. Iruka turned around and warned. Don't worry Iruka-sensei, I'm not Naruto. Yagami Ryosuke said with a laugh. Right, Iruka nodded. If it was Naruto, he would really have to worry about it. After all, as far as Naruto's personality is concerned, even if it has changed in the past 2 years, it is still difficult to change his bluffing and indifferent appearance. Hokage office. Iruka knocked on the door. Is that Iruka? Come in. An old man's voice came from inside the door. Follow Iruka to open the door and walk in with night god Ryosuke. Master Hokage, the night god brought it. Iruka said respectfully. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting reviewing documents, also raised his head to look at night god Ryosuke in front of him. You are the night god Ryosuke, right? Not bad. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with a smile. Master third generation, hello. Yagami Ryosuke said. Well, Iruka, you go out first. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned to look at Iruka and ordered. Okay, then I'll go down first. Iruka turned and left after hearing this. He closed the door of Hokage's office smoothly. Ryosuke, do you know why I called you here today? Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of his cigarette, looking enigmatic. Is it because the number of people graduating from our class just happened to be one more? Night god Ryosuke asked. There is this reason, but not all of them. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the night god Ryosuke in front of him, and he vaguely saw the shadow of his disciple Orochimaru from the opponent's body. Although the talent shown by night god Ryosuke is far less than that of Orochimaru. But both of them are equally smart, and they are calm enough in any situation. Even when meeting his Hokage, night god Ryosuke, Genin, who is only 12 years old this year, he is very calm. This makes Sarutobi Hiruzen a little bit impressed. Pity, night god Ryosuke's talent is still a little bit interesting. This life is the best, just an elite jonin. Otherwise, Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to cultivate him well so that he can assist his grandson Konohamaru in the future. That's right, in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart, his younger son Sarutobi Asuma does not have the talent to become Hokage. On the one hand, the strength is not enough, and the situation cannot be controlled at all. On the other hand, the personality is not smooth enough, too impulsive in doing things, and easy to be emotional. Such a character cannot become the shadow of a village. Of course, we are talking about Konoha here. For other villages, that's another story. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to train his grandson Konohamaru early. Even giving him the name Konohamaru represents Sarutobi Hiruzen's expectations for him. After all, the grandson is still young, and if he is carefully cultivated, he can always be cultivated into an appearance that satisfies him. The only problem, probably, is that Sarutobi Hiruzen himself doesn't know if he can survive to that time. So, he has to make some preparations in advance. At least he has to pave the way for his grandson, lest his calculations fail. Night God Ryosuke didn't know Sarutobi Hiruzen's inner thoughts. If he knew, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to train Konohamaru to be the 5th Hokage. You can't help but laugh out loud. Konohamaru, Hokage. Not to mention Konohamaru, it doesn't sound ominous at all. Just his age alone is a big problem. How old is Konohamaru this year? 8 years old only. And when did Sarutobi Hiruzen die? Just this year. So, Sarutobi Hiruzen let alone seeing Konohamaru become an adult, even if he wants to see him graduate from the ninja school, it is impossible. But none of these Sarutobi Hiruzen knew. He planned according to the normal situation and felt that it would not be a problem for him to live another 10 years. 10 years later, Konohamaru turned 18. Just an adult, take over his class. In the past 10 years, Sarutobi Hiruzen will also cultivate a group of trustworthy team for the executive. When the time comes to help him to Hokage's position, he won't be afraid of being ostracized by those ninjas. Pity, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought well, but the reality is far more cruel than he imagined. He probably would never have imagined that he would burp this year. It is impossible to complete his so-called inheritance plan at all. Ryosuke, what is your dream? Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly asked such a question at this time. Night God Ryosuke thought for a while, and then said, I want to become stronger and have the ability to protect my beloved. Protect everything I have now and in the future. He didn't hypocritically say anything about protecting the village. With Ryosuke's current strength, there is no need to pretend to be a character who loves the village. He will protect only those around him who love him and whom he loves. As for the village, ? To be honest, where is life? But Konoha's environment is indeed the best. If it's not necessary, Yagami Ryosuke doesn't want to judge the village or something. Do you want to protect the one you love? Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with a knowing smile, seeming to agree with the Night God Ryosuke's dream. So, as a freshly graduated genin, how long do you think it will take you to gain that kind of power? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Night God Ryosuke shook his head. I am not sure, he said. This time maybe 10 years, maybe 10 years. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, Ryosuke, you are very smart, you should know that a ninja does not have enough resources to cultivate, growth is limited. Quote, like your good friend Nara Shikamaru, they are all from the ninja family. From the moment they were born, their future growth path has been arranged by their parents at home. Quote, although you are stronger than them now, you have graduated as a chief student and become a genin, but if you don't have the same resources as theirs, then your internship. The power increase speed will slow down, but Shikamaru and the others will become stronger and stronger. Quote, until you surpass you, then you may not be able to achieve the overtake again for the rest of your life. Are you willing? Sarutobi Hiruzen's words carried a hint of bewitchment, as if he wanted to see the expression of loss and unwillingness from Night God Ryosuke's face. But what a pity, he was disappointed. Night God Ryosuke is not lost or unwilling. I will work harder, even harder than before, and I believe that the village will not treat any worthy young people badly. Yagami Ryosuke said. Sarutobi Hiruzen paused for a cigarette, and Ryosuke's answer made it impossible for him to continue his prepared speech. This is not the same as what he thought. You kid, you don't want oil and salt, right? Ryosuke, you are right, the village will not treat any worthy young ninja badly. Sarutobi Hiruzen was smiling on the surface, but he was cursing in his heart. This kid, why is he such a ghost? Did he really think so, or did he say it on purpose? For a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen was also a little confused about what Night God Ryosuke was really thinking. But, now that this has been said, Sarutobi Hiruzen will no longer brainwash Night God Ryosuke. Anyway, brainwashing can be done slowly in the future. He still has a long time, and he can slowly do Night God Ryosuke's thought work. No more. Even if Yagami Ryosuke really doesn't want to get in no matter what, then the left and right are just a little favor, Sarutobi Hiruzen himself will not lose anything. And, a boy who can reach the limit of elite Jonin, isn't he just letting him handle it as he pleases? Can it be reversed? Sarutobi Hiruzen thinks he is Ryosuke. And, he is also very confident in his own way of deceiving Dafa. If I can't fool you today, it doesn't mean I won't fool you in the future. Sooner or later, you will become the shape of the old man. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer cared about Ryosuke's unconventional way of playing cards. He smiled and said directly, Ryosuke, I can give you a choice here, as long as you can complete what I gave you. Test, then I will allow you to join ANBU. You probably don't know what ANBU is. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought that Ryosuke was just an ordinary boy who didn't know what ANBU was. So he explained ANBU's status in the village to Night God Ryosuke. Certainly, it's a bit exaggerated. For example, the benefits of ANBU he mentioned. That's right, ANBU does have those benefits, but they are not enjoyed by ordinary ANBU members. You have to be at least a squad leader, right? And ANBU's team leader, the worst strength is also formal Jonin. General Special Jonin are not eligible. And above the squad leader there are sub-captains who manage 4 squads. Above that are Minister ANBU and the Deputy Minister. Those benefits that Sarutobi Hiruzen said. That is something that can only be enjoyed gradually if one has a certain status in ANBU. What to watch the ninjutsu in the Book of Seals. Annual year-end rewards. Ordinary ANBU members can't get these things at all. They can also borrow some common ninjutsu in ANBU's library. Even if it is AC level ninjutsu, it has to be exchanged for contributions. But, ANBU does have benefits. At least if ANBU ninjas exchange contributions for ninjutsu, the requirements will be much lower than ordinary ninjas. About 1/3 of the contribution can be exchanged. The meaning of Sarutobi Hiruzen is obviously to want Ryosuke, the Night God, to join ANBU, and then brainwash him a little bit, and train him to be his own. It will be convenient to give them Sarutobi family dogs in the future. Pity. Night God Ryosuke has long known that Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, will not survive this year. Those plans after him will never be realized. Want to join ANBU? Yagami Ryosuke thought about it and thought there was no problem. Anyway, Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't have a good few months to live. Now assume the identity of ANBU. When Orochimaru's Konoha collapse plan is over and 5th Hokage Tsunade takes office, if he shows a little bit of real strength, he will be able to mix well. As for being a dog for the Sarutobi clan, hehe. It's beautiful to think about. Just keep thinking. Master 3rd generation, do you know what kind of test it is? Thinking in my heart, on the surface, Night God Ryosuke asked with a very interested look. Hehe. If it's you, Ryosuke, I believe you can pass this test. The wily Sarutobi Hiruzen thinks he sees it all. At this time, my heart is beautiful. This feeling of mastering the fate of others fascinated him. Otherwise, why did he hold on to Hokage's position so hard that he wouldn't let it out? Isn't it just not willing to bear such power? Come out. Sarutobi Hiruzen said suddenly into the air. Next second, a ninja wearing an ANBU uniform and a white dog mask suddenly appears in Hokage's office. Master Hokage. A cold voice came from behind the mask. Night God Ryosuke recognized this ANBU at a glance. Isn't it Azuki Shion who hasn't seen each other for a while? Now I have a task for you, this is the content of the task. Sarutobi Hiruzen throws a quest scroll to Azuki Yugao. The latter reached out to catch it. This time, you only need to be responsible for supervising the mission. How to complete it will be left to Ryosuke, the Night God. Your task is to ensure the safety of Night God Ryosuke, and rescue him in time when he is in danger, understand? Said Sarutobi Hiruzen. Understood, because. Azuki Shion nodded, looked at Yagami Ryosuke who was staring at him, and a smile flashed in his eyes. The kid back then has grown up too. Azuki Shion thought to herself. Ryosuke, this is the old man's test for you. As long as you pass this test, you will be an official ANBU ninja in the future. Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Night God Ryosuke again. Go, the old man hopes that you can pass the test, and then the old man will have a surprise for you. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand and let the two go down. As for the surprise in his mouth, Night God Ryosuke estimated that it was nothing more than a C-level ninjutsu or a B-level ninjutsu. The high probability is that the B-level is mainly the C-level, which is a bit unhandy. No matter how you look at it, a mere C-level ninjutsu can't be considered a surprise, can it? What's more, Sarutobi Hiruzen should know in his heart that Night God Ryosuke has already learned several ninjutsu left by his father, and there should be no shortage of C-level ninjutsu. So the so-called surprise he can give at this time, no matter how you think about it, must be a B-level ninjutsu. Pity, Night God Ryosuke is not the same as he was 2 years ago. A mere B-level ninjutsu. He really can't see it. After Azuki Shion left Master Hokage, the two came to the roof of a building. At this time, Azuki Shion also took off the mask on her face, revealing her fair and delicate face. Ryosuke, congratulations on your graduation, Azuki Shion said with a faint smile. Sister Shion, so you are ANBU's ninja, Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile, then we will be colleagues from now on. That will have to wait for you to pass Master Hokage's test. Azuki Shion said, opened the quest scroll in her hand, glanced at it, and then closed it. Sister Shion, what is the mission? Night God Ryosuke asked curiously. He was really curious what kind of mission Sarutobi Hiruzen had arranged for him. Assassination mission, the target is suspected to be an enemy spy, and its strength is about the same as that of Chunin, so it's not easy for you to deal with. Azuki Shion is a little worried about the safety of the Night God Ryosuke, and asked him to assassinate an enemy country Chunin. Is this a bit over the standard? Although, each of ANBU's ninjas can complete such tasks independently. But Yagami Ryosuke is just a kid who just graduated from ninja school. How can he compare with those ninjas in ANBU who are used to killing and have experienced trials and tribulations in blood and fire? What on earth is Hokage-sama thinking? Could it be that he deliberately didn't want Ryosuke to pass the test? Azuki Shion couldn't help making up the Hokage of Sarutobi Hiruzen in her heart. No matter how you look at it, this task is deliberately embarrassing Yagami Ryosuke. Assassination of enemy spies, no problem. Night God Ryosuke is quite confident. Don't underestimate these enemy spies, every simple role that can be sent to perform spy missions. Azuki Shion saw that Yagami Ryosuke didn't seem to take this mission seriously, so she also opened her mouth to remind, not wanting Yagami Ryosuke to underestimate the opponent too much. Don't worry, Sister Shion, I haven't been playing all the time for the past 2 years. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. As long as you have confidence, I will give you an hour to prepare, and we will gather at the gate of the village in an hour. After Azuki Shion finished speaking, she put on her mask again, followed by performing the body flicker technique, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. 1 hour, then go meet Hinata and Ino first. Yagami Ryosuke thought to himself. He wasn't prepared for anything either. It's nothing more than talking to the people around you. 10 minutes later, Night God Ryosuke found Ino who had already met the leader Jonin. Then I took Ino to find Hinata who was being tested in their 8th class. Training ground number 3. Yi Shen Ryosuke used to go to number 4 training ground to practice before, but in fact number 3 training ground is not next to number 4 training ground, but separated by a long distance, at the north and south ends of the village. In training ground number 3, Night God Ryosuke found Hinata and the others who were still testing. Let's wait, Night God Ryosuke said to Ino beside him. Anyway, he still has more than 40 minutes of time. Not in a hurry. By the way, it is also a good time to see the strength of Hinata and their 8th class. Jonin, the instructor of the 8th class, is Kurenai Yuhi who is very familiar with the Night God Ryosuke. At this time, Yuhi Hong split a shadow clone to fight with 3 students. And her body is standing on the other side to observe. But it's a battle, but it's actually more like a pointer. Kurenai Yuhi would point out the shortcomings of the students from time to time and give them some suggestions. After about 10 minutes, probably Yuhi Hong felt that it was almost the same. So an illusion went over, and directly brought down Hinata and the 3 of them. If she fights seriously, the 3 rookie genin who haven't even performed the mission can be dealt with in one face-to-face. But Yuhi Hong is not Kakashi. She will not be as strict as Kakashi, she just wants to examine the strength and respective characteristics of her 3 students. After testing, Yuhi Hong found that the strongest among the 3 was actually Hinata, who seemed weakest. As for Inuzuka Ya and Aburame Shino, they have their own characteristics. Overall, she is very satisfied with these 3 students. Ryosuke, did Hokage-sama tell you to go there? After the test was over, Hinata hurried over and returned to the situation of Yagami Ryosuke. Nothing, just inviting me to join ANBU. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. ANBU, are those ninjas wearing black clothes and masks? Inuzuka Ya, who just came over, also opened his eyes and asked curiously. He also doesn't know about ANBU's situation, but at least he knows that there is an ANBU department in the village. And I heard that those who can join ANBU are all elite ninjas. Ryosuke, Lord Hokage asked you to join ANBU. Kurenai Yuhi came over, greeted Ryosuke and Ino, and then asked. Sister Hong, Lord Hokage didn't directly let me join ANBU, he gave me a test, and only if I pass the test can I join ANBU. Night God Ryosuke did not hide anything, and directly told Sarutobi Hiruzen about his arrangement. As for confidential or not, feel sorry, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't say it, but Night God Ryosuke acquiesced that this thing can be said. That's it, then you must be careful, and don't be careless during the task. Sunset Red said seriously. As she has just been promoted to the official Jonin not long ago, it is clear that joining ANBU is not an easy thing. Since Master Hokage has given a test, then this test must test the ability of Night God Ryosuke in all aspects. The difficulty involved is definitely not something that ordinary genin who just graduated can handle. Good promise good. Although she also knows that the Night God Ryosuke's strength is very good. But only among peers. Compared with the real veteran ninja, Yagami Ryosuke still has a lot to learn. Don't worry, Miss Hong, I will be careful, Yagami Ryosuke said. Then he touched Hinata's little head with a worried look on his face. Don't worry, don't you know my strength? He said softly. Hearing this, Hinata also nodded. She didn't speak, just gently took the hand of Night God Ryosuke. After saying goodbye to Hinata and Ino, Yagami Ryosuke went to Konoha Hospital again, found his mother Yagami Mizuki who was at work, and told her that he was going out of the village to perform a mission, and he might not come back tonight. Be careful on the road. Yagami Mizuki looked at her son who was almost taller than her. Although she was worried, she also knew that it was the ninja's duty to perform the task. She could not stop her son and tell him not to go. So, Yagami Mizuki could only tell her son to be careful in everything, and to put her own life first in case of danger. As for the mission, it doesn't matter if you give up. Village entrance. Yagami Ryosuke arrived just before the hour. It's on time, let's go. Brush. The figure of Azuki Shion suddenly appeared, and after speaking to the Night God Ryosuke, he handed a certificate of leaving the village to the 2 Konoha door gods. Night God Ryosuke. Is that the civilian genius who just graduated this year? I didn't expect to leave the village to perform a mission so soon. Gang Ziti and Shenyu Izumo looked at the 2 figures that gradually disappeared in front of them, and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Today is supposed to be the day when these freshly graduated genins are divided into classes, right? Unexpectedly, just after the class was assigned, this civilian genius was assigned a mission to go out of the village. Is Master Hokage interested in cultivating it? The 2 thought about it. Leave Konoha village. Yi Shen Ryosuke suddenly felt like the sky was high and the birds were flying and the sea was wide and the fish was leaping. He couldn't help but smiled and looked at the blue sky, then activated the body flicker technique under his feet, and easily followed Azuki Shion in front of him. After driving for half an hour, the 2 had left Konoha village for about 40 kilometers. The speed of the 2 is basically maintained at 80 kilometers per hour. Such a long-distance running speed is difficult for ordinary chunins to achieve. But Azuki Shion found that Yagami Ryosuke didn't even look out of breath. It looked even easier than myself. Rest for a while, but your strength is really good. Azuki Shion said. Sister Shion, I have been exercising my body all the time, and my physical skills are not bad at all. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. When you go out to perform tasks in the future, don't call me by my name, but call me by my code name Purple or the Captain. Azuki Shion reminded. Okay, Miss Shion, Yagami Ryosuke said with a grin. Azuki Shion gave him an angry look. This means that the relationship between the two is good, so there is nothing wrong with joking. But if it was someone else's behavior, Azuki Shion would probably be angry. However, Yagami Ryosuke was only joking, and then changed his name to Azuki Shion as the captain. After all, the identities of ANBU members are confidential. Otherwise, why do they wear a mask and cover their whole body in black robes? But, Yagami Ryosuke looked at Azuki Yuyon's signature long purple hair, and thought of a certain white hair that had left ANBU. These two guys. Does no one recognize them? After resting in place for 5 minutes, the two set off again. Soon, they arrived at the target location of this mission. A place called Baichuan Town is located in the south of the Fire Country. Baichuan Town is a small town with a small population. But business is very developed. Almost the entire town is engaged in business, and there are also some rich people who have made a fortune in business in the town, and the houses they live in are those kind of big yards. The target of Yagami Ryosuke this time is a businessman who appears to be engaged in ninja tool sales. This guy's name is Chuyun Ueno. His home is in Baichuan Town, and his shop is also opened here. But occasionally I will go to Konoha for delivery. It has a long-term cooperative relationship with Tiantian Ninja Shop operated by Tiantian's family. Certainly, Tiantian's family did not sell the village. They just don't know that this guy is an enemy spy. What's more, Tiantian's family business is so big that it is one of the largest ninja dealers in the country of fire. There are not too many ninja dealers who cooperate with their family. It is impossible to know everything about them. Yagami Ryosuke also met Tiantian several times because of Naruto. The talent entry Little Rich Woman was transformed from Tiantian. He can provide him with 100,000 taels of money every day. Let Night God Ryosuke no longer be short of money. Choyun House. Yagami Ryosuke and Azuki Yugao lurk in the dark, watching the mansion. Your target is Choyun Ueno, but there are some guards hired by his house. Although they are not ninjas, they are ordinary people with a little force. Azuki Shion introduced the situation of Chuyun Ueno. Your task is to assassinate Chuyun Ueno and ensure that the information about the village in his hands will not be passed on, so you also need to confirm whether the people around him are also spies from the enemy country like him. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, already having an idea in mind. Captain, I'll go then. Yagami Ryosuke said. Azuki Shion nodded, and after admonishing, be careful, she watched Yagami Ryosuke disappear in place in an instant. Choyun House covers an area of 3,600 square meters. There are 7 servants, 11 nurses, plus Choyun Ueno, the master, and his wife. 20 people in total. Night God Ryosuke used his perception ability to find the specific location of these 20 people, and then started to act. His method is very simple. Since it is not sure whether there are spies among the people around Choyun Ueno, then they should just kill them all. As long as these people are dead, even if there are spies mixed in, it won't help. Puff, puff, the 2 nurses who were chatting suddenly spurted a large amount of blood from their necks. The 2 samurai nurses stared wide-eyed, and tried to cover the wound on their necks with both hands, but the wound was too big, and they couldn't block it at all. 2 plops. 2 twitching corpses fell to the ground. Behind, Night God Ryosuke appeared like a ghost. He flicked the blood beads on the ninja knife, and then disappeared in place again. The first time he killed someone, Night God Ryosuke didn't feel disgusted, but seeing the scene of blood gushing from his neck, he was not at peace either. Go on, always take the first step, Night God Ryosuke said to himself. Then he turned into a Shinigami, harvesting the lives of the people in Choyun House one by one. 1. The 7 servants and 11 samurai guards were all dealt with by Night God Ryosuke. But the smell of blood also alarmed Choyun Ueno and his wife in the room. Is it leaked? Then don't hide it. Night God Ryosuke looked at the target rushing out of the room, and then appeared beside him in a flash. Brush. The knife flashed. Yagami Ryosuke looked at the woman who dodged his knife in surprise. Unexpectedly, she is also a ninja. Yagami Ryosuke was slightly surprised in his heart, but his movements did not stop. The second knife, the speed is faster. If the angle is wider. The woman failed to dodge again, and was stabbed in the chest by Night God Ryosuke. The sharp blade pierced the chest directly. Puff! Pulling out the ninja knife, blood gushes out immediately. The woman staggered and fell to the ground, dying. Kimiko. Choyun Ueno rushed forward while exclaiming, while secretly forming seals. Go to hell. Next second, lightning-style pseudo-dark. A constricted thunderbolt turned into a thunder spear, stabbing fiercely at the Night God Ryosuke in front of him. Azuki Shion, who was hiding in the dark, also broke into a cold sweat for the Night God Ryosuke. A mere firefly, dare to compete with the bright moon. Yagami Ryosuke sneered disdainfully. In the next second, he actually grabbed the lightning spear directly with one hand. With a grasp of the palm, the thunder and lightning are instantly annihilated. Crackling arcs danced around Night God Ryosuke's body, DBBC. As for the Night God Ryosuke, who was bathed in the thunder, besides feeling numb on his body, not too many other feelings. What? Whether it was Choyun Ueno who released this lightning style, or Azuki Shion who was hiding in the dark, they were all stunned by this scene. The flash body actually directly resists ninjutsu. Or the lightning style known for its powerful damage. What kind of monster-like physique is this? Konoha Ryu instant kill. The light of the knife flashed, as fast as lightning. Slashing across Akigumo Ueno's body in an instant, blood flashed, and Yagami Ryosuke raised the ninja knife in his hand and appeared 3 or 4 meters behind Akigumo Ueno. He slowly retracted the knife into its sheath. Then he turned around and looked at Choyun Ueno who was standing motionless. Puff! A piece of blood splashed out, followed by Choyun Ueno's body, which was divided into 2 obliquely from the middle, and fell to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Brush! Azuki Shion's figure appeared. She came over, first glanced at the target's body and the woman's body, then walked up to Night God Ryosuke, looking him up and down. Captain, is there something wrong with me? Night God Ryosuke asked. How did you manage to resist lightning style with your body? Azuki Shion couldn't help asking. I'm physically strong. Yagami Ryosuke said with a smile. Azuki Shion gave him a white look. Strong physique. If you really want to have a strong physique to be able to resist the B-level lightning style, then those physical skills Jonin will not need to avoid the enemy's attack in battle. Well, maybe it's some kind of blood succession limit. I feel that my physique is much stronger than other ninjas. Yagami Ryosuke smiled and barely gave a reasonable explanation. Blood succession boundary. That's how it is. Azuki Shion nodded, feeling in her heart that this should be some kind of blood succession speed limit. It's just that no one in the Yagami family has awakened this kind of blood succession limit before, probably because the previous ninjas in the Yagami family all followed the ninjutsu route. It's nothing to Ryosuke, the night god, to expose his strong physical fitness. After all, his true strength is much, much stronger than what he has shown. Expose a little bit of real strength. For Ryosuke, the night god, there are only good things and no bad things. As for, will this kind of blood succession limit of physique be targeted by Danzo, the pot shadow? Haha, night god Ryosuke is not the same as he was 2 years ago. Now, he was no longer afraid of any bullshit. What's more, night god Ryosuke really wants to see, if Danzo knows his special bloodline limit, will he go to Sarutobi Hiruzen's important person? If he did go, he might have to quarrel with Sarutobi Hiruzen. At that time, maybe there will be a classic dialogue. Yagami Ryosuke also wanted to see this good show up close. As for afterward, will Danzo sneak up on Gen's ninja to catch him? Please, night god Ryosuke can't wait for Danzo to do this. At that time, he can just copy some ninjutsu of root ninjas back. It can also help Danzo to streamline the number of team members. Look around, the information recorded by this guy should be hidden nearby. Azuki Shion cut off Akigumo Ueno's head with a ninja knife, and then sealed it in a sealed scroll. And then said to Ryosuke, the night god. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, then turned and went to the other side. Just now, my eyes seemed to have a strong throbbing. Is it about to evolve? Night god Ryosuke thought to himself, then took out a mirror from the palm space, and opened his Sharingan. In the mirror, it was supposed to be Sharingan in the state of 3 hooked jade. At this time, the 3 black hook jades have turned into the pattern of 5 small black sickles. Sure enough, Mangekyo has opened. Night god Ryosuke secretly delighted. Unexpectedly, Mangekyo Sharingan was activated after killing a few people. If the dead souls of Uchiha know about this, they will be angry and die again, right? When did Mangekyo become so easy to open? In fact, Night God Ryosuke didn't just open this pair of Mangekyo directly because he killed someone today and received some stimulation. Over the past 2 years or so, Night God Ryosuke also often stimulates his pair of Sharingan, trying to open his own Mangekyo. And after more than 2 years of stimulation again and again, although each stimulation is not too strong. But after a long time, the pair of three-pointed jade of the Night God Ryosuke is only one step away from Mangekyo. And today was the first time I saw blood. Just let his pair of Sharingan take that final step. This successfully opened the Mangekyo. I don't know what the pupil technique of my Mangekyo is. After turning on Mangekyo, Night God Ryosuke felt that his pupil power had increased by about 20 times. No wonder. He obviously had 10 times the power of pupils before, but he couldn't open Susanoo in the state of 3-hook jade. To put it bluntly, the pupil power is still not enough. Mangekyo's pupil power is 20 times stronger than that of Lord Goyu. And now, successfully opened Mangekyo's Night God Ryosuke, his pupil power is 11 times that of Mangekyo. I don't know how far away the pupil power of Eternal Mangekyo is. Is the pupil technique still in development? Looks like we'll have to wait a few days to find out. Night God Ryosuke sensed it and found that his two pupil techniques were still in the process of gestation, but it would take a few days at most before the gestation was completed. This made Night God Ryosuke look forward to it. I don't know what kind of pupil technique this so-called soul portraiting eye can give me. It stands to reason that Night God Ryosuke should have a desire for power in his heart, so it is possible to obtain the one-eye technique of Amaterasu. Certainly, it is also possible that it is not Amaterasu, but other more lethal pupil techniques and the like. As for another pupil technique, Night God Ryosuke suddenly thought of something, and his face became a little weird. Shouldn't it be possible, he thought. I hope that this eye of spiritual reflection does not really conceive pupil art according to a person's inner portrayal. Otherwise, Night God Ryosuke is really worried that some weird pupil technique will be bred. After all, apart from his desire for power, he seems to be only interested in the beautiful girls in the Hokage world. You can't conceive a pupil technique like that, can you? If so, it would be too embarrassing. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Ryosuke, it's all right, the things have been poured. After a while, Azuki Shion found Yagami Ryosuke, shook a scroll in his hand and said. Then we can go back to the village. Night God Ryosuke asked. Basically, unless you want to stay here a little longer. Azuki Shion said. Forget it, come again next time you have a chance. Night God Ryosuke shook his head, his current thoughts are all on Mangekyo's pupil technique, and he doesn't have the mind to go shopping at all. Then go back to the village. Azuki Shion nodded. She is not the kind of woman who likes to go shopping, not to mention that she is still in the process of carrying out the task, and the information in her hand must be sent back to the village as soon as possible, so it is best not to overdo it. Hang out. On the way back to the village, both Yagami Ryosuke and Azuki Yugao slowed down. It took almost 2 hours before we returned to the gate of the village. It was getting dark by this time. Azuki Yugao handed over the customs clearance documents to Kokotetsu and Kamizuki Izumo at the door, and then brought Yagami Ryosuke to the Hokage building. Hokage office. Azuki Shion knocked on the door. Ahem, come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen in the office didn't know what he was doing, he coughed twice before letting them in. Open the door and go into the office. As soon as Yagami Ryosuke came in, he smelled a strong smell of smoke. How much has this old man been smoking here? Yagami Ryosuke thought to himself. At this time, Azuki Shion also submitted the mission certificate. Oh, did you finish it so soon? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yagami Ryosuke with a smile. It seems that Ryosuke, your strength is even better than I imagined, not bad. Very good. Night God Ryosuke was humbled. After that, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the mission report, and suddenly opened his eyes wide in surprise to Night God Ryosuke. Physical blood inheritance limit. He looked at Night God Ryosuke in surprise and asked, Ryosuke, have you awakened a blood successor limit? Hearing this, Yi Shen Ryosuke also said, actually, I was not sure at the beginning. I just found that my physique grew a little faster when I was exercising, and then I found that my physical fitness was getting better and better as I practiced. Sarutobi Hiruzen. God gets better and better with practice. Or you simply getting better and better. You can physically resist B-level lightning style ninjutsu. This is no longer applauded, but should be called a monster. With such a physique, an ordinary attack might not even be able to hurt even a bit of Night God Ryosuke's fur, right? Unless they are facing ninjas above the level of Jonin, otherwise, in the ordinary genin, they are just a group of harmless scum in front of Ryosuke, the Night God. Unless it is a magic weapon in hand, such as Kusanagi's sword and the like. Okay, Ryosuke, you are better than I imagined. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also secretly delighted at this time. If he hadn't deliberately recruited Night God Ryosuke, he wouldn't have discovered the blood successor limit on him. If no one finds out, I'm afraid Night God Ryosuke himself still doesn't know what it is. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help feeling grateful for his wise decision. Look, that's what being a Hokage looks like. Unlike that guy Danzo, I heard that he seems to look down on ordinary geniuses like Night God Ryosuke. If Danzo knew about the blood succession limit on Ryosuke, the Night God, would he die with regret? Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt even more fortunate. Fortunately, Danzo didn't like Yagami Ryosuke, otherwise he asked himself to ask for someone at the beginning, Sarutobi Hiruzen, for the sake of old friendship. Coupled with the fact that Ryosuke, the Night God, is extremely talented and is an elite Jonin, there is a high probability that he will be handed over to Danzo. It's good now. The person is still with him, even if Danzo finds out about the situation afterwards and comes to him to ask for someone again. It is also impossible for Sarutobi Hiruzen to hand over Night God Ryosuke. After all, there is no blood succession limit and there is a blood succession limit that is completely different. Ryosuke, the Night God who has no blood succession limit, will be elite Jonin in the future, and the probability is not high. It's just possible, but the Night God Ryosuke who awakened the blood succession limit, the future achievement is at least elite Jonin. The former is the highest achievement and can only reach elite Jonin, the latter is the lowest achievement and the worst is also elite Jonin, and it is even very likely to reach cage level strength. Such a genius, coupled with his background as a commoner. How can Sarutobi Hiruzen not like it? When Konohamaru takes the position of Hokage in the future, you can consider giving Night God Ryosuke a seat in the elders. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself. His previous arrangement for Night God Ryosuke was just to serve as a Hokage guard beside Konohamaru. But now, Sarutobi Hiruzen changed his mind. If Night God Ryosuke can really grow to cage level strength in the future, it is not impossible to give him a seat in the elders. In Sarutobi Hiruzen's view, this is already his great gift to the Night God Ryosuke. After all, a commoner ninja, unless the ancestral grave is smoking, how can he be qualified to enter Konoha's high-level circle? Now Night God Ryosuke has this opportunity. Isn't it a gift from him? Ryosuke, I now officially appoint you as a member of ANBU, here is your letter of transfer. Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately announced the arrangement for Night God Ryosuke, and solemnly handed over a transfer letter that he had prepared long ago. Ryosuke, from now on you will be a part of protecting the village. Said Sarutobi Hiruzen, I will protect the village. Yagami Ryosuke received the transfer letter and said. Sarutobi Hiruzen also nodded in relief when he heard the words, and then began to feel entangled in his heart. Because he didn't know that Night God Ryosuke had awakened blood succession limit at first, so the gift he prepared for Night God Ryosuke was a B-rank ninjutsu scroll. Available now, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that this gift was too light. Not enough for Night God Ryosuke to remember his favor. Anyway, he is also the right arm of the old man's grandson in the future. It seems that the old man can't be too stingy. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself, and then said, Ryosuke, go back and have a good rest today, and come back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. When the time comes, I will give you a gift, which is regarded as your congratulatory gift for joining ANBU. Okay, third generation day. Yagami Ryosuke nodded, not being polite to Sarutobi Hiruzen at all. But he was thinking in his heart, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't give him the gift he had prepared in advance, maybe because he knew the limit of his blood inheritance, so he felt that the gift he had prepared before was a little too much to take out. Have to say, Night God Ryosuke really guessed right. Well, you two go down first, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. It can be seen that he is in a really good mood. After leaving the Hokage building, Yagami Ryosuke thought about it and probably won't have anything to eat when he goes home. After all, he said before that he would not come back tonight, so his mother would definitely not prepare his dinner. Sister Shien, why don't I treat you to dinner? Yagami Ryosuke turned his head and said to Azuki Yugao beside him. Eat. Azuki Shien nodded after thinking about it. Okay, then what shall we eat? Go eat barbecue. Just finish the task, eat something good. Yagami Ryosuke said. Azuki Shien also has no objection. The mission this time though is Sarutobi Hiruzen's test for Night God Ryosuke. But it is also a B-level task itself, and there is a task fee to get it. The remuneration for B-level missions is generally between 80,000 and 200,000. And this time the task reward is 150,000 taels. After deducting the 20% that the village took, that is 30,000 taels, there are 120,000 taels left. At the beginning, Azuki Shien planned to give the 120,000 taels of remuneration to Yagami Ryosuke. After all, the whole task was done by Yagami Ryosuke himself. She is just in charge of supervision. But Night God Ryosuke insisted on 5 points. Mao Shien couldn't resist him, so he could only accept 60,000 taels of it. In fact, Yagami Ryosuke is not short of money at all. Little rich woman, this talent entry can give him 100,000 taels of income every day. And this entry was obtained by Night God Ryosuke more than 2 years ago. In the middle, although he often went to the barbecue shop, he also bought some ninja tools and the like. But the sum of the money spent did not exceed 1 million taels. Therefore, right now Ryosuke still has more than 70 million taels of deposits in his hands, so he doesn't even look down on this mere 120,000 taels of mission reward. But Azuki Shien is different. Although ninjas make a lot of money, ninjas also cost a lot. It has been 10 years since Azuki Yugao graduated from the ninja school. But the money saved was only more than 1 million taels in total, and the rest was basically used up. In contrast, Yagami Ryosuke is the real rich man. If it weren't for knowing that Azuki Shien would not agree, Yagami Ryosuke would not have even planned to ask for the 60,000 taels. After eating the barbecue, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. Coming out of the barbecue shop, Yagami Ryosuke patted his slightly bulging stomach, feeling very satisfied. In this world, beautiful people and delicious food cannot be let down. He sighed in his heart. Then he turned his head and said to Mao Shien who was beside him, Sister Shien, I have no place to stay tonight, otherwise you can take me in. Shall I have one night? Aren't you going home? Azuki Shien asked. I said before that I won't go back tonight, so Sister Shien, do you want to take me in? Yagami Ryosuke looked at Azuki Yuyan with a pitiful expression. Azuki Shien couldn't help laughing either. Okay, then you can sleep at my house tonight. She said. I knew that Sister Shien, you have the kindest heart. Yagami Ryosuke hugged Azuki Yuyan with a smile, just like when he was a child. I've grown up, how about hugging my sister? Don't be ashamed. Azuki Shien smiled and lightly tapped his finger on his forehead, not resisting Night God Ryosuke's embrace. Probably got used to it. After all, Ryosuke, the former Night God, often hugged her. Once you get used to it, you don't feel that there is anything wrong with it. But, the 12-year-old Yagami Ryosuke, due to long-term exercise, has a height of about 170. Standing beside Azuki Shien, she looked as tall as her. From a distance, passers-by who didn't see Yagami Ryosuke's immature face clearly thought they were two young couples out shopping. After all, it looks so intimate. No wonder they get it wrong. And the same misunderstanding was not only these passers-by, but also a few ninjas who just came out of an izakaya not far away. Isn't that person over there Azuki Shien? Someone recognized Azuki Shien. After all, her long purple hair was so rare in the village. It's hard not to recognize it. Moonlight Gale, who had just had a drink at the side, heard Azuki Shien's name, and immediately became half sober from the wine. He looked over there, and the pupils in his eyes shrank instantly. Moonlight Gale was shocked and speechless. A few friends next to him looked at him, then at the two people embracing each other, and looked at Moonlight Gale with sympathy for a while. Who among them doesn't know that Yugong Haifeng has always liked Azuki Shion, and there are even rumors that the two are already together. But as friends of Moonlight Gale, they still know some inside information. In fact, the two of them had a slight crush on each other at most. Yugong Haifeng really likes Azuki Shion very much, but it's hard to say what Azuki Shion thinks. But seeing this scene now, they became more and more certain in their hearts that Moonlight Gale was just unrequited love. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.